All viral.
Man, y'all make sure y'all share this video and make sure y'all subscribe to All Viral Access Media. You know the vibes.
Yeah. They thought we forgot, but we never forget. This one's for the rules. We built this land from dust and tears. 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, know the skies. The spirits woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, that table turn. You can't buy culture, can't fake that fight. This is our day. This is alright. We FBA. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been here all along. Foundational Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, to fight the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the scars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know what's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our pain turned to power. Our roots are trees. We know world. It's rhythm and grace now, and now we reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans, still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the rule, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black
Stay strong on the bridge tonight. We got dreams and we got fight. Voices loud in the city's light. Change is coming into sight. History told by scars and pain. Echoes deep in every name. Legal truths we must reclaim. Through the storm and through the rain. Thorough black talk of you. With brother Tab, sister K. Sister Marcia, mother blacksmith. Cut the check on no vote, yeah. Justice calls from open skies. Tears that fall, ain't no disguise. Marching forward, no surprise. Strength and hearts you can't downsize. Every voice a sweet refrain. In this fight we share the strain. Through the joy and through the pain, bound together like a chain. Thorough black talk review with brother Tad, sister K, sister Marcia, brother Blacksmith. Got the check on over here.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister K Fighter, brother Tad, sister Marcia, and brother Blacksmith. Of course, we're going to have our usual suspects, reparation activists, reparations, what do you call it, lobbyists. Brother Devon, sister Brooke will be joining us. We going in heavy tonight. We are going in heavy tonight, but I want y'all to buckle up. I want y'all to get ready, because when I tell you we know our story, we know our story. We went to the New York archives, dug in the crates, had to put the white gloves on to get the paperwork, but I got the paperwork. I was on the phone Friday with my family members, and we were on to almost 2 o'clock in the morning discovering this history. So we about to get into it. Let me get my brother, the Wisdom Podcast, brother Tad, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, brother? How are you?
Peace, sis. Peace. How you feeling?
Good, good, good. I was a little under the weather today, but I said we got to rock out. We got to rock out tonight.
No doubt. I'm excited. I know you got some things up your sleeve. Oh, my goodness. We're in a great space. This is a great space and time, sis.
Yes.
Last week's 225. Like I always tell people, we're a quarter century into the new millennium. No more time for backward thinking. Got to think ahead. Ain't
That's
that
right.
what Teddy P said? And I see it's still a lot of backwards thinking with so many people who really standing on their shaky square. We're in a whole new space where, and I always give ourselves the credit, Sister Keisha, you and I, at least 10 years ago, when we were telling people, when we were in the Pan-African community, telling people, research your own family history. And I see many people haven't done it, because if they did, they would come with receipts. So even FBA people who are waving a Pan-African flag, I mean, at least admit defeat. And it's not a competition where you really get defeated. Just acknowledge that you're learning something. What I realize is so many people think they think they know everything there is to know. So this is why they'll go back 5,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years. I'm like, yo, if what you know don't solve your problems, you don't know shit. And that's why so many of them still got problems. Useless information. Useless information. Okay. They did this. They did that. I can't wait till you drop the bomb. Because, yeah.
It reminds me of the movie Life. Shout out to the great actor, in my opinion, he is, Joaquin Woodbine.
Oh, definitely.
And what was his name in the movie?
Can't Get Right.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. That's for Brother Devon, because you know he's a movie knees. So
right. And I love it. I love it.
But you know,
we are movie knees though. But they looking at the wrong movie.
Right. Because I've been avoiding this show for a while. But when I left that archive, I said I got to get into it. But I kept putting it off because the archive that I was given the information, it was months ago. And I said, we're going to discuss it on the show. But so many things have come up. So I was putting it off. And so I said, let me check out this show. They said it's historically accurate, a lot of it. I started to dig into it. Lo and behold, some of the things that they discussed, well, a hell of a lot of things they discussed was in the very archive that I was able to attain. Now, you from the style. Shout out to everybody from the style. If you ain't from New York, Brooklyn is its own planet.
It's a fact.
It was always its own city.
Definitely.
Until the bridge was made. But Downing Place, right? Downing Street, Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
Named after a black man.
See, look, you putting me on, baby.
One of the most powerful black men there ever was here in New York City. He was a restaurateur. They actually called him the Oyster King. But Thomas Downing would host dignitaries at his restaurant. And you got to remember that the majority of the black elite lived in Brooklyn. And so tonight we're going to discuss some of those people. We're going to discuss white elites from the streets that we walk on, whether it's Skimmerhorn, Livingston, Astor Place. We're going to get into some of that too, because Cornelia Street, Sackman Ave, Sackman Street, but these were all slaveholders. And we have the ledger of when a lot of their slaves were manumitted. Not only were they slaveholders, but a lot of them became constables or ward holders of the poor. Tonight, you're going to also hear some stories from men who fought in the Civil War. We have that for you as well. But they're going to tell a very interesting story that I hope you all pay attention to. And it'll give you context as to why white folks, especially middle and lower class, some of them despise us so. It will tie into why the police treat us the way that they do. It will tie into why Karens are out here crazy. And so we're going to tie it all together tonight. But let me get my brother Blacksmith on the bridge. The BX and BK, what's happening, brother?
Peace, peace, peace. Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear.
I know brother Tad ready right now because he said we ready for the backwoods position. He ready for that ship to come with that blunt steamed up already. So
that's
it's
right.
Coming over the bridge. It's gonna make a beautiful picture. Y'all can paint it, put it on Thorough Black Talk with the bridge focus, with the focus on the bridge.
Who's pioneering? Who's the captain of that ship? Is it George Clinton?
I heard it's a guy that just got shot in the summertime. His last name is Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he coming back. Sister Keisha, what up? I can't pay too much attention to that. He gonna have us on Voltron.
I wasn't trying to get it. I wasn't trying to
get it. Black's starting early. It ain't even 30 seconds and he starts. He can't get hot.
Marcia. Started with the backwoods position.
Let me get my sister Marcia up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Welcome Africans on the Rise. What up, Sister Marcia? How are you?
Peace, family. Good to see you on this Blacktastic Thursday. Sister Keisha, Brother Tad, Brother Black. Hope all is well and prosperous with you and yours.
Yes, indeed. While we wait for our Brother Divine and Sister Brooke to get ready behind the scenes, Sister Pat won't be able to join us this week.
Oh, man.
She's on vacation.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Of course.
We're going to have Brother Magnetic Tyson and Leonard again.
Whenever they're ready. Actually, Brother Peace was also on vacation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Brother Black, I know you've seen all these shootings that have been happening. You always call them the psyops, but there's some crazy stuff going on, brother. You care to elaborate? You care to elaborate a little bit on that?
Were you talking about the one in Australia and then Brown University and all that other stuff?
Brown University, professor at MIT. It was on last week.
I ain't
Kids
hear about
on Atlantic Avenue. All them popping this week, boy.
Wow. Well, you know what I'm more focused on, Sister Keisha? The celestial events. Remember, 3-Eye Atlas is they say it's supposed to come tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's what they saying. It's supposed to come
Well, I
tomorrow.
hope they will some money my way. How about that?
Well, you know, with that, okay, we want to talk about money real quick. The reset is happening behind the scenes, and I'm glad you said that, because I believe that's why all of these things that are happening, whether they're psyops, real business or not, I believe that's all of these things are happening because they need to distract us while all these things happen behind the scenes. They had a thing called I see Sister Marcia put in the private chat that Powerball's at 1.5 billion. I haven't even been paying attention. Yeah, that's crazy.
I seen it was at $9.99. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, well, that's how many people buying it.
So now it's 1.5.
Yeah.
Well, whoever hit, you know, I'll give you my address behind the scenes. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
manifest, bring it to us. Mm-hmm. It's magnetism time.
You and Sister Marcia, you don't want to be taking shots of the super moon and all that. So let me see if you can make it happen.
No,
I'm working on it.
Hey, Wing Gal, we just need
first and last to know.
We just need to go to your country and get all that gold out of there and oil that everybody's sitting on. Remember when the earthquake happened in Haiti in 2010? I remember it well because I had just came back from Ghana. That was the same. I believe the day before Teddy Pendergrass passed away, and the next day was that big earthquake in Haiti. But they got hella gold and hella oil there, and they just sitting on it. Hillary Clinton's brother won all the rights for it. I don't know if y'all remember, Trump's brother died, and then right after that Hillary Clinton's brother died. I don't know what happened to, because he was the one that had reserved the rights to dig it out when they developed it enough where they could start digging and making mines out of it.
Yeah, so, and all the corrupt people, they cashed out. I don't think he really has any, that family has any tangible rights at this time because of all the other stuff that happened and stuff like that. But, this is why they are targeting IET the way they do. And it's all right because I am true to the cause that those ancestors, those original people of IET are covering that for their people. And I had a discussion with someone most recently about, isn't it so tragic what's happening to IET? I said, that's absolutely not. I would rather they do all of this than allow these people to come in and turn IET into Jamaica, into Trinidad, into this resort world. I'd rather the people continue to rebel as much as possible. And yes, it's at the demise of the people on the land. But what I'm also seeing is that the people of the land are starting to do more agriculture. They're starting to build up their own reserve and not look to the imports of the West to survive. And that is a great thing.
I hope they first they need to do is build up their military, because you can do all of that, but out of military, you will always be a victim. It's just the same like with a fight. If you don't stand up to the bully and know how to fight, then you're going to always get beat up. And
I'll agree. And
because and also the people, this is my opinion. I don't live here, not from there. That ain't my coaching. However, from an outsider looking in, stop relying so much on stupidity. Stop relying on ways of old, because when you do that, you become stuck, and it prevents the people from being what they need to be, and people become stagnant. Movement, growth, always helps with the cause. And that's what I wish for the people right now over there. Brother Black, go ahead.
I was gonna ask Sister Marcia, if U.S. intelligence or French intelligence or whoever's infiltrated over there now, did they ever catch up with Barbecue, or do you know anything about that? Because he was name in the news 2 years ago, and then you stop hearing about him.
No, they haven't caught up with him. And recently, the most recent news that I heard is they've deployed over 100 drones in Cité Soleil and other places where they think he may be. So they're looking hard. And I'll agree with Sister Keisha. And what I kind of like is what Maduro, I think his name is, out of Venezuela. He is arming the people. Thank you, Black. He is arming the people with weapon, right? Because U.S. is on the attack for their oil, right? And they're positioning themselves onto Trinidad. So there's a lot of stuff happening globally, but all I want is, as Sister Keisha say, that we arm ourselves in the right way so that we can secure our assets and not allow these people to do their tricknomics on us. Because as long as one of these quote unquote soldiers end up falling for the man's tricknomics, then the whole city falls. That's the same thing that happened back in 1805 when they ended up killing Dessalines because someone said to someone, and someone was like, I'll set him up. I'll get him for you. And he was just like, no, this is my man. This is my man. And this is the thing, because we always think that someone is for us. And sometimes that person that we think is our closest ally can be our worst enemy. So we need to learn that.
Agree. And somebody sent me something about Ibrahim Traore. You know, I'm so tired of people with stagnant information. It really pisses me off. It really pisses me off. Don't send me that bullshit. Don't send it to me. Because once I get my bread from these folks, I'm coming over there next. And see, y'all like to let people slide. I'm from Brooklyn. My mama and daddy from Brooklyn. My grandmama and grandpappy from Brooklyn. My great-grandparents from Brooklyn. I don't know where y'all from. We don't let nothing slide. So I'm not letting nothing slide. And to be truthful, you know, because, you know, the piece that they sent me was, you know, he's building or creating his own weaponry with the help of Russia and China. You still on the knees, bro. You still on the knees. You see? But if he was smart and he really wanted victory, you would have found Black American men and women of the U.S. military, retired, whatever. Because we have fought in every war in this country and made every war winnable. So you keep running with the losing team. And that's what other countries don't get. Keep running with the losing team. Now I'm laying there, but let me give some shout outs real quick. Shout out to Sister Brooke. Sister Tanisha, what's happening? What's happening? Sister Farnessa, Alabama on the check-in. Uncle Jess, Aunt Marie. They the aunt uncle of the whole podcast now. Y'all the aunt uncle of the whole podcast now. That's it. Peace, Coach. What's happening, Tal? What's happening? Brother Terrell, glad you enjoyed that. Shout out to Mike Larry, All Viral Access Media for the jump off. Sister Aruba 927, Doggy Diamond Mods in the building. Big Russ, Philly, what's happening? Did we have fun Friday on this call, cousin? Did we have fun getting this history? Telling y'all, Sister BX, the gatekeeper. Let me tell you something, Black. She make the BX valid. You, on the other hand.
Hey, what
That's
about
how they chase them to Mars.
what if you? So you sleeping on my man up the other Black from the Bronx?
Who that, Black Dot?
Oh, you had him on the show a few months ago. Come on now.
Nah, that's the bro. You know, Black Dot is home team. He always get the love. It's you the only stain for the Bronx. Just you.
But
Taz said I didn't have to.
So I'm the
Taz
what happened
said
to Qua?
Say it again.
You ain't did the Qua in like months now.
I know. Well, hold up. My bad, Black. I apologize. You and Fat Joe are the only stains in the Bronx.
Oh, shots.
No,
Fire.
Jimmy Walker too.
Who's that?
That's on the Ann Coulter. Jimmy Walker. JJ. JJ Evans get gunned up and clap quick. Your
Hold
boy
on.
shotting on your boy now.
When was he from the Bronx? Go ahead, show me.
Who?
Jimmy Walker.
He is from the Bronx. What are you talking about? He's from the Bronx. He went to DeWitt Clinton High School.
That ain't what he said.
Well, what did he say?
Go Google it and come back and let me know, okay?
He's from the Bronx. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I know people who know him.
All right. Y'all check that out. Shout out to BX the Gatekeeper. The number one mod, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok or X. If you don't know her, you better know her. And she plays no games, especially about her lineage. Don't disrespect her ancestors, because she will hit you with the 1-2. So if you don't know BX Gatekeeper, check her out. BX Network. She is a real journalist. She got some great interviews on her channel. You might want to check that out. So let me see.
And what's the name of the channel? The YouTube channel?
BX Network. BX Network.
BX Network. Y'all hear that, right? So go like, subscribe, and share.
Definitely. And don't forget, on Sundays, you got to check out the OG Wisdom Podcast.
Yeah.
We got to get into it. Let me see if my brother Devon ready. You ready or you need a few minutes? You let me know, brother. You ready? U.S. Freedmen Project President, our advocate, our lobbyist, Brother Devon, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, brother?
Man, what's going on the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, family? What's up?
Everything smooth as lotion, bro. How you feeling?
That it is. Yes, it is. Smooth and smelling good. I'm doing real good. I also got to give a shout out because that's my uncle and my aunt. So shout out to the family in the chat as well.
Yes, indeed. They love Brother Devon. And they don't play no games.
And I love him.
On Fridays, Devon, they be cursing everybody out in the chat. So y'all can act crazy in the chat. They're going to be cursing y'all out on tomorrow morning on the call. Tomorrow evening on the call. They don't play about us. Sister Joyce, Brother Monty, Suffolk County. What's happening? What's happening? I like that Farnessa. She be scalping hard. BX don't play. BX don't play. We got to get her up in here. Now, see? Now, when she come on here, and she going to have to scalp you hard, you walked into it now. I try to warn you. Don't play with BX, but hopefully in the new year, we can get her. Tonight will be our last broadcast for 2025. I might do a special live Sunday evening, but we'll see. But this will definitely be Thorough Blacks Talk last live, because next week is Family Day, right? Next Thursday is Family Day.
Yes, it is.
So spend a little time with your family, hang out with the children, the grandchildren, get your pajama parties popping, whatever it is y'all do. Shout out to my cousin Tashima. Happy birthday to her.
Oh, today's her birthday?
It was the other day.
Happy Queen's Day, sis.
Shout out to cousin Anthony. It was his birthday too. That's right. Callie in the building. He always on the check-in. So, Sister Brooke, are you ready? She says yes. Let's give it up for the 1-2. Brooklyn up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Our reparations activist, Sister Brooke. What's happening?
What's going on, family? Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. Let me say my hellos. Hello, Sister Marcia. Hello, Brother Black. Hello, President Devon. Hello, Brother Tad. And hello to my big sis, Keish. Let's get it popping, because I'm ready to get into this Brooklyn history, because people think that we just got here.
No, we ain't just get here. And you know what? And I know y'all have heard me say this many times. I don't like when people change names of streets, pull down statues. because you clean up the crime scene and you also do us foundational Black Americans a disservice. Now, what do I mean by that? A couple of months ago, we pulled up on this Pan-African space because they hosted something called Diaspora Wars or whatever. And I won't tell the story. I let Brother Devon tell the story because I wasn't there. I booked up out of there. Me and Sister Brooke, we was out. He said him and Brother Sage was outside having a conversation, and he looked across the street. What did you see, Brother Devon? Go ahead.
It was every flag of the quote-unquote diaspora except our flag. Even the flags that represent non-Afro populated countries.
Yep.
Every flag but our flag. Now
in our country.
We were on Utica, but that Utica Avenue?
That's right.
You know, elite Black families of the Gilded Age, which is between 1865 and 1902, lived there. You see how the history gets covered up? Because when you look at areas like Flatbush, Brooklyn, Crown Heights, they say it's Little Caribbean, right? You got Little Senegal uptown, right? You got Little Haiti right now. But what about our history? We were there first. There's no mention. And so when you do things like that, you do us a disservice and you cover up our history. Now, I don't know who on the bridge and who in the chat haven't seen The Gilded Age. If you've seen The Gilded Age, put a 1 in the chat, and on the panel, let me know if you've seen it. Brother Divine, Brother Black says no. Sister Brooks says yes. I know Sister Marcia saw a couple of episodes, right? All right. In this show, it's on HBO Max, I think it is. Whatever. In this show, they talk about even San Juan here. We lived there first. We lived there first. I'm gonna prove it. So, anyway, The Gilded Age talks about the period of that time. They talk about elite families, both white and Black. Tonight, you're also going to know where that term, badges of slavery, really comes from. Okay? So, we're going to get that tonight as well. But the majority of the show takes place in white elite circles, white elite socialite circles. You have, excuse me, the Vanderbilts, the Skimmerhorns. Let me know if I'm missing something, Sister Brooke. The Vanderbilts, the Skimmerhorns, the Livingstons, the Astors. All of these were founded families of New York. And you also have what you call the Scott family, right? A Black elite family from Brooklyn. But last week, we talked about T. Thomas Fortune, right? The journalist who owned the newspaper, and I gave some quotes that he said last week. He is portrayed in this series. He was formerly enslaved in Alabama. They actually go visit Booker T. Washington in this series. And so you get to see a little bit of that. If I'm saying it right, Sister Brooke, let me know if I'm saying something wrong.
Not at all. You know, that's my show.
So anyway, as you go through this series, you get to know how vicious and psychotic white folks are, right? In particular, what do you call it? There's a family on the show called the Russell family. Now, in the Russell family, they are fictionally portraying the Vanderbilts, really. Okay. Now the husband, he's portraying all of white elite businessmen at that time. There was no fiction, no real character, Mr. Russell and all of that. But he's an amalgamation of all of white businessmen at that time. He builds the railroads and, have to deal with unions and all of that, right? Sister Brooke, you tell it. Wow. Tell what you know about the show while I cue this up. Go ahead.
Specifically about the Russell family?
The Russells, the Astors, Ward McAllister is portrayed, and that's a real person. Ward McAllister. If you live in the city of New York, you need to know who these people are. But go ahead, Sister Brooke, go ahead.
Yeah, so the Russells they new money, right? And everybody else is old money, and you kind of see some of that money diminish a little bit, you know what I mean? And so the Russells are the wife in the Russell family is just like scratching to get in with the old money, and you see like the creation of like the Met and how that was basically at the time that was the new place to go, and how trying to get it to solidify itself on the scene. You see her trying to manipulate things through marriage with her daughter.
Now pause right there, sis. Pause right there. Now, you said manipulate marriage with her daughter. Mm-hmm. You telling people how vicious white elite are in selling off their daughters. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The girl had this guy, the daughter in the Russell family. She had this guy whom she was head over heels in love. And he was in head over heels in love with her too. Now, I don't remember what he did, but it wasn't nothing that the mother liked. And the mother, like I said, she was the father in, the Russell father. He was just like working, like he had tunnel vision on like, trying to get these railroads, trying to get these contracts, trying to get, all of these things. And the mother was she was a socialite manipulator. Like she got to go to the right parties, wear the right things. So that includes who her daughter married. And she just was not allowing that daughter to marry who she wanted to marry. That was not going to happen. She basically threatened the young man who the daughter wanted to marry. And so the young man, got scared and ran away pretty much. She ran him away. The daughter found out. She was, crying. I don't even want to say the verge of tears. She was crying. And what she wanted was this. See, at the time, the British elite were financially struggling. And so she was trying to broker a marriage between her daughter and I can't remember exactly which British elite it was, but she was trying to broker a marriage between her daughter and this struggling lord, for the lack of a better word. Duke. There you
go. Go ahead.
A struggling duke. And he was looking at a few different, women, and actually women that kind of wanted to marry him, but she was adamant that she wanted her daughter to be the wife of a duke. That way she could, that would help them with the old money. You know what I mean? Because now she's got new money, old money, and basically it was a business deal. The Duke was like, you help me keep my castle. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give me a certain amount of money per month to keep my castle afloat and my staff paid and blah, blah, blah. And I'll take your daughter. And, she basically did that. And what was interesting is how it hurt her relationship with her husband, because he kind of like never forgave himself for basically selling his daughter. You know what I mean? Like he realized that he sold his daughter. And
now, prior to her getting pushed off on the Duke, let me reel it back a little bit because I want you to see where this Karen mentality comes from. All right. When Mr. Van what do you call it? What is it?
I can't remember his name.
Van Air or whatever it is. Anyway, that family is portraying the Vanderbilts in real life. The son was zesty. Zesty, trying to hide his zestiness. He actually got beat up in a gay club, got robbed and all that. But he tries to hide his zestiness by trying to persuade that same daughter to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, all while this is happening, her mother, Bertha Russell, shout out to Brother Black, he put in the chat, Skull and Bones at Yale University was co-founded by William Huntington Russell, right? And Alfonso Taft. Now, in Spanish Harlem, you have Taft houses, right? Huntington Beach, California. You got to understand why the names of the streets are the way that they are, who they name after. You see, these folks never forget their history. Good, bad, or indifferent, they are standing firm on their history, as they should. But people try to stifle us from our story or try to include themselves into our story. And that is problematic. Now, also, while the daughter is being pushed off, whatever, the mother is very vicious. She is, as Sister Brooks said, of new money. She wants to be the it girl of society or it woman of society. And she will do any and everything to make that happen. But you also see how everyday white folks live during that time. The cooks, the butlers, and everything else, and the things that they're intertwined in, right? So I give you this premise because we are from New York. You see the bridge. But people really don't understand this history. And when you have so many immigrants who come to this country and reside here in New York, don't know they ass from the elbow. And they do things that are harmful to us. So, as I'm sharing this, you see, I got to make this larger so you might not be able to see the pictures. We don't care, right? We don't care. Excuse me. So, as Sister Brooke was saying, in the series, you had the Russell family. George is the husband. George is the husband. Bertha is the wife. Gladys and his son Larry. Larry doesn't want to go into family business at first. He wants to be an architect. But when it comes to money, prestige, legacy, and longevity, you're going to do what you're told. The same with the Black family, the Scotts of Brooklyn, right? Tell us, Sister Brooke, a little bit about the Scotts of Brooklyn.
Now, the Scotts is the whole reason that kept me watching the show. Let's be honest, okay? Because once I seen this pretty Black girl, I was like, oh, there's Black people in the show. Okay, so now the Scotts are freed Black people. They don't necessarily, I can't remember if they get into how he came into freedom, but and so she works for.
Wait, before you go further, because I want to give a little context here. Because you say you don't know how he got his freedom.
I forgot.
I just want people to know there were always free Black people here.
Right, because there was two sets of Black people in Brooklyn. Those that were freed and those that were always free. And I think he comes from the freed portion. He was not always free. So they did not get into context. I don't, even if they did, I don't remember if they got into how he became free.
Now I'm gonna explain why. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna explain why you don't see that context, because the Scott family is portraying free, wealthy Black people that really lived in that time.
Yeah.
They had no connection to slavery whatsoever. And I believe, based on the character's perspective, him having a restaurant and, doing other things, they are portraying the Downing family. And you guys can research that and look it up at your own leisure when you get a chance. Check out the history of Thomas Downing. And we'll get into a little bit of him a little bit later on. But I wanted y'all to understand that there were always free Black people here. But go ahead.
Well, I'll say about the Scots in particular, he was freed. And they make that distinction. You probably haven't gotten there yet. They make that distinction in the new season, because Felicia Rashad is now on the show, and Felicia Rashad's family has always been free, and so Felicia Rashad kind of looks at the Scots differently, and her, and I'm jumping ahead, but Felicia Rashad's son wants to marry the Scots' daughter, and she's not really with it because they were freed, and she feels that that's a different stock from her stock, which has always been free. I believe in Mount Vernon, and they on that island in Mount Vernon, not Mount Vernon. Help me out here. The Inkwell. Every time I can't remember the name of it, I just think about the Inkwell.
Martha's Vineyard.
Thank you, Martha's Vineyard. They have always been free on Martha's Vineyard. So, and the Scots, the husband specifically, I think the wife was always free, but I think the husband specifically was freed, and he's a pharmacist. He has a thriving business as a pharmacist. Now, Felicia Rashad's son is a doctor. And so, and Miss Scott, the daughter, is a writer and a journalist working with the gentleman that you talked about earlier from Alabama. Thomas, yeah, thank you. And they went to Alabama together. Now, that's a whole nother story. But sidebar, what's really interesting is, like, when you start off in the beginning of the show, there are no bridges. Right. I just, as a New Yorker, I thought that was really interesting to watch her be like, she worked for which white family did she work for? I can't remember.
The Van Ayers, or who's portraying the Vanderbilt family?
Right, the Vanderbilt family. So she works for them. She's a secretary. And so she takes dictation, she writes letters, blah, 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 because this is before, typewriters and things like that. So she takes letters and mails out her stuff. And so when she comes, she often has to stay over because she had to take a ferry or a boat back to Brooklyn. And I just, like, that was so interesting. And then as you go on in the show, the Brooklyn Bridge is built. And something that people don't realize that happened here in New York is that there are two Americas, just like there was two New Yorks. And they show both that night during when the Brooklyn Bridge opening ceremony happened. You have white America, with the rich white America, and they were having their party. And the rich Black Americans was having their rooftop party in Brooklyn. Okay, so we've been having rooftop parties in Brooklyn. Y'all think y'all doing it because you just now having a rooftop party? No, we've been doing that for hundreds of years. Okay, having rooftop parties in Brooklyn. So they had their own rooftop party in Brooklyn, watching, the bridge open up. And so when people say things like they built New York, how? Where?
You came right where I wanted to go, sis. Go ahead.
How? Where? We were here already. We were here before the bridge. People talk about, oh, well, they helped build the bridge. Yeah, but understand, we was here taking boats back and forth before the bridge, and I make jokes that everything was like Staten Island. Everything was a ferry. You know what I mean? To go from one to the other, it was a bunch of boats and canals and things. The reason why we got Canal Street. and everything. So you came here and you might have added on to what was already going on. But the reason why you came to New York, because it was already a money-making city. You came here because you wasn't making no money, wherever the fuck you from. You wasn't making no money. So you came here to where it was already a money-making city. And then you got a job so that you could make money for your family. You didn't add anything to this country. We could have did it without you. We didn't need you. You came to benefit yourself. You didn't come to benefit this country or this city. You came to get rich on your own. So yeah, so she
hold on, for Sister BX, the name of the show is called The Gilded Age.
The Gilded Age, yeah, it's funny.
You could probably catch it on YouTube or something. I think that the first or second season, I think. Don't give me the lying, but it's called The Gilded Age. Go ahead, sis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you see that there are two Americas, and two very affluent Americas at that, and so she,
one part, because I want to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
You also have someone portraying Sarah Garnett.
I don't know who that is.
The wife of Henry Highland Garnett. She was the school principal, and she asked Peggy if she would write. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, man, that was powerful. They were like fighting for. See, we started the public school system. Not no white person. We started the public school system because it was us that had schools to educate our children. And the Irish was sending their kids to our schools, as a matter of fact.
Facts.
Because they didn't have none. There were no schools for them. Okay? So they were sending their kids to our schools. So we started PS 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So they were fighting to get to keep the schools, because they were trying to close them down. The white folks were trying to close them down, and so they were and Miss Scott, she was just very influential, writing articles. See,
now Miss Scott is black. She black, y'all. But
yeah, Miss Scott is black. Miss Scott is that black family that I told you about, where the father was freed, and I think the mother was always free, and so she's from that family. So she was writing articles. We have always, one thing that I noticed about that, we has always used our media to advance our cause. So what we're doing now on YouTube, on TikTok, on X, on Instagram is nothing new. Before there was these social medias, it was newspaper articles. And that's what Miss Scott was. She was a journalist writing newspaper articles, and she was able to bring what's the word I'm looking for? Bring awareness to what was happening with their schools. And because of that awareness, they were able to garner support from other people in the community, including some of the Irish, a few of the Irish, because like I said, they didn't have no schools for them. So the Irish were sending their kids to our schools, the schools that we built with our teachers. Go ahead.
I want people to remember just what she said, because that's going to be key when we play the recordings of former black men from the Civil War. When we play that recording, I want you to remember what she said of how the Irish went to our schools.
Mm-hmm. And then how they treated our children after they were able to, they thought that they could separate. And this lends itself to one of my testimonies. People come here and they align themselves with us as long as it benefits them. And as soon as a second happens that they could get something over us, they throw us to the curb and step on our necks and backs and act like they ain't never met us before. Anyway, so they were able to garner.
Before you go on, sis, because I want to discuss this. Now, these are actual people from the time period who appear on screen, whose lives clearly inform characters and storyline. Again, you have the Astor family, Carolyn Skimmerhorn, Astor, portrayed by Donna Murphy, a real dominant New York socialite leader who was admitted to elite social circles. Mamie Fish, a real New York socialite known for her wit and extravagant, often eccentric gatherings. She appears in the series and interacted with many white elite figures. Ward McAllister, a real socialite in New York who helped organize the Astor-led 400 list of accepted society members. He appears in a series representing elite hierarchy. T. Thomas Fortune, a Black journalist and civil rights figure of the era, portrayed in the series, especially notable in season 2, as the show addresses issues of race and inclusion. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, so you want me to go on about the school part? Where you want me to go? Because I could talk forever about this show.
I want you to touch on the school because it's going to bring it back to what I'm talking about here.
So, and at that time, white folks being white folks, always doing the, they tactics. So they told them the meeting was on a certain day, and they all in the house getting paperwork, whatever they doing together. They getting all their stuff together, plotting and planning on how they're going to save their school and their teachers. And they having a meeting right then and there. The father ended up being somewhere, and he just heard about it. He ran home, to tell his wife and his daughter, that, and the rest of the crew, that they were having the meeting right now. They pick up all their stuff, run to the meeting, get there just in time to be able to save their school. And so yeah, it's man, that show is just, Sister Keisha always talks about how, giving things context, because history oftentimes needs context. You read these things, but you can't see it in your head. You can't feel it, and it's like something as small as the Brooklyn Bridge, until I saw her like, oh, I got to hurry up and go because I got to catch my ferry. You know what I'm saying? I got to get up out of here, And it just like, it became real to me. I'm like, ferry to get to Brooklyn. I'm like, oh, there's no bridge. She got to go take a boat, So watching shows like this, I love on history because it gives me context and it allows me to, in a way, live in that time, like see the outfits, see the architecture in the buildings.
Now, one thing I noticed right off the bat, because, I go to museums all the time, quite often. And I noticed that Mr. Russell's office was filmed in J.P. Morgan Museum and Library. His office. I recognized that immediately from the stained glass windows. Also, you should know that Black American woman Sally Richardson Whitfield is the executive producer of this show. And she also directs quite a few episodes. Go ahead, sis.
Now, you taught me that. I did not, and I've been to the museum with you. So you taught me about the museum because I didn't know the museum even existed before you, child. So you taught me about the museum, and then you taught me that was Mr. Russell's office. I didn't realize, I did not catch that, and I've been watching the show since it came on.
And some of the scenes of their house in Newport, that is from the Frick Museum in Manhattan. The Frick Museum is the Gilded Age Museum. If you haven't been, you might want to check it out. Go ahead, sis.
Well, yeah, I definitely do want to check that out now because I really love this show. And so, they were able to save the school. And even as it's also very interesting because what I want people to understand is that when people are trying to pit Black women and Black men against each other, I want you to understand that we didn't have that going on here. We did not have that going on here. Miss Scott is a young lady.
I had to blow it up for that one.
She is
Say
a young
that
lady.
again, sis. Because I don't think people grasp that. Go ahead.
Our fathers, our uncles, our brothers did not keep us down. And I don't, because of feminism, I don't want to use the word allow, but they did not hinder us in our fight for education, in our, unlike other ethnic and racial groups.
That you see in this series. It's portrayed with those other groups in this series.
They don't go to school. They ain't trying to learn. They're not known for writing. But Miss Scott is writing and sending her writings all over the place and getting, deals and traveling to Alabama to write. Now you don't want to travel by yourself when you're a woman. You know what I mean? Just because of outside dangers. You know what I mean? So you do want a man to escort you, right? As you go, especially when you're a pretty little black girl like Miss Scott, okay? With money, them nice little dresses she be having on, the big dresses from that time. So you want a male to accompany you, but nobody stopped her. As a matter of fact, it's that the character Thomas, help me out with the name because I suck.
Timothy Thomas Fortune.
T. Thomas Fortune. He was amazed at her writing. He kept pushing her to do more, pushing her to write more, pushing her. And, things were, they were said. It's funny because at the same time, or as things progress, the sister in the Vanderbilt family, the one who ended up getting the money in the end. Anyway, the sister in the Vanderbilt family, she is trying to start the women's women's rights movements and things like that. And she is constantly being told what she can't do, what she shouldn't do, what I'm saying, what women not allowed to do. But Miss Scott, that is not her path. Every man in her life is supporting her and telling her to do well and praising her for her writing. Like I said, the dad was out and he heard that. He came running back to the house to tell
because there was some friction. I don't want to give it all away, but there was some friction between her and her father that cut really deep. So I don't want to tell all of that because, we got to move forward and I want y'all to have something to look forward to watching. But just so you know, John Singer Sargent, famous painter of the Gilded Age, is portrayed. J.P. Morgan, financier and industrial titan of the era. Oscar Wilde, the noted author and wit, appears to be as a guest in Social Life. Clara Barton, founder of the Red Cross, excuse me, is portrayed there. Consuelo Vanderbilt in the Duchess story, as Sister Brooke talked about a little bit earlier. But all of these things are portrayed, and I really don't talk about TV shows, but because I'm in the history, I think it's relevant, especially in this FBA renaissance that is happening. And so just to give you a little bit more background, the Russell family, the real family is the Vanderbilts, fictional composite based on real wealth dynamics. Bertha Russell, she is portraying Alva Vanderbilt.
I just realized I made a mistake. When I said the sister of the Vanderbilts, it wasn't the sister of the Vanderbilts. It was the sister of the Astor. She was the Astor sister. So I apologize for getting those names mixed up. But go ahead.
She plays Alva Vanderbilt. You have Vanderbilt Avenue in Brooklyn. Gladys Russell, Consuelo Vanderbilt, inspired by real life Mrs. Astor, Carolyn Skimmerhorn Astor. So these are two families that married each other. And those streets are in Brooklyn. Skimmerhorn is, Astor is in Manhattan. Mamie Fish plays Mamie Fish, actual historical figure. Ward McAllister, as I said, John Surgeon, J.P. Morgan, Oscar Wilde, and all of those, right?
And I went to Barton, just to let you know.
Oh, wow. And yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah, I went to Clara Barton.
Shout out to one of my older cousins. She's in her 80s now, but she taught there at Clara Barton.
Sister
So,
Keisha,
yes,
real
sir.
quick. You know there's still a famous living Vanderbilt, right?
Oh, yeah.
He changed his name.
Mm-hmm, sure did. Go ahead, tell us who it is. I ain't gonna blow up his. I ain't gonna tell
Anderson
him,
Cooper.
Boom.
Yes.
Anderson Cooper is the son of Gloria Vanderbilt.
That's right.
Who was married into the family.
That's right.
With the jeans, with the blue jeans.
Yeah, with the jeans. Yeah, that's how because you know the Vanderbilts lost their fortune. Now I don't watch the show. I just, try to learn a little bit about, money and stuff like that. But yeah, Anderson Cooper is actually a Vanderbilt. His mother's Gloria Vanderbilt, and she started going into fashion because they was messing up the money. All that money that they made. I forget who was the first Vanderbilt, but his fortune was equivalent to what we would call $3 billion today. They were so rich that they just took money, was blowing it on building mansions around the world. They was bugged out. But yeah, I thought that was a interesting little piece since we talking about the Vanderbilts. And that's why he used his mother's maiden name of Cooper, because he didn't, he wanted to act like he was getting it on his own merit and not on the strength of being a Vanderbilt.
Which is a farce.
Who his mama is.
Right, Sister Brooke. That's why I said it's a farce.
Definitely.
So, Sister Brooke gave y'all the background of the Scott family. Arthur Scott, successful Black architect. Peggy Scott, his daughter, a writer, intellectual. Dorothy Scott, his wife, part of Black elite society. The Scotts are not based on one specific family, but they are a composite portrayal of free, educated, property-owning Black families in the late 19th century in New York. Okay? Let me see. I know y'all can't see that. I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger. I guess I got it.
So hold on, sis. You saying that these people didn't come here by way of slavery?
Some did, but a lot of them were free Blacks. Because remember, I said on the show before, Brother Tad, Henry Garnett himself was the victim of an attempted kidnapping.
Definitely.
Right? And a lot of people don't know that story. But you should Google it and read it. It's quite interesting.
About the New York kidnapping clubs, correct?
Correct. Because you have to remember, slavery ended in New York in the 1820s. Right? When I play the recordings or stories that were recorded rather of Black men who fought in the Civil War, they're going to tell you exactly what percentage of Africans were brought here. Very, very interesting. And so a lot of history that you think you know, you don't know. So anyway, they owned property. They were very well educated. The Black church, the Black newspapers, all of that in New York City. Also, remember, Peggy Scott represents Black women intellectuals and journalists, writers excluded from white publishing houses. Because remember, she sent some writings to, I think, a Christian newspaper or magazine, and they told her, you got to hide who you are. You can't tell nobody you're Black. We'll take your stories, though, but you can't tell nobody you Black.
Because you're good at what you do.
So, women who contributed to Black political thought, but were erased from history. Her character aligns closely with real Black women writers of the era, such as Ida B. Wells, Victoria O. Matthews, and Pauline Hopkins. That's my aunt, man. Anyway, my aunt's name. Anyway, I'm digressing. So again, they talk about Timothy Thomas Fortune here. And last week, if you were on with us, I mentioned him. He was very curious about who we were as a people. And not identifying as African.
Yep.
Right. And so a lot of people of that time, Black people, they had to get it in the mud, get it out the mud, as we did. And so, as Sister Brooks said, when I hear people come with this immigrant story talking about they built New York, fuck out of here. You wasn't here, partner. You wasn't here. You wasn't here. And the history tells that. Now, remember, those white elite families come from backgrounds who own slaves, right? You had let me see if I could switch this real quick. If it allow me to. Let me see. I think I could do it. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
I don't think
I don't know what we're looking at, but we see something.
Right, it looks like a book.
Right. This is the ledger. This is the ledger. Okay. And in this ledger, you have Brooklyn Town meeting minutes.
Now, hold on. This is your pictures, right?
Yeah, this is my PDF. Yes.
From the museum.
From the New York Public Archives. New York Public Library Archives. Excuse me. So this is the minutes from their meetings from 1785 to 1823. So you know enslavement was in full effect. Okay? But I'm gonna scroll down because there's a lot of empty pages here. We don't need to see that. But I want to show you all here. We can start here. I guess it's easier, right? Some of the things that they owned, but I want in particular for you to see the names. Borum, as in Borum Hill, Bergen Street, right? You see, they were commodores of the time, and they also had slaves. That's what this ledger portrays. Bedford, see it over here, right? Bedford, Berry, all of these names. So as I go through these names, we're going to get down to the enslavement, but I want y'all to see who these folks are. Cornell, you have that street in Bushwick, Crosby,
Coney Island.
Come on. Let me see if I can slide this over.
So, and now these are the names of the Black people in
No, these are white families.
Okay, white families. I just wanted to make sure.
So you have, if you can see in the right corner here, it says
Dean.
See that?
Dawson, Dean.
Right. See that? All of that in the corner. Let me go down. Let me see.
Dykeman,
yes, you saw that, right? That's what I was looking for, right here.
The Raw, yeah.
Over there by 4th Avenue by Wyckoff, Dykeman,
yeah. So these are the names of the elite families, excuse me, in Brooklyn. And what these numbers represent are the things that they owned, right? And we'll see that a little further down. Forster.
You know, Forster, Flushing, Flatbush,
Flushing.
Fowler.
So let's stop at Flatbush.
Let's stop at Flatbush because they try to erase us in Flatbush. Let's talk about Flatbush.
Right. So going to Flatbush, they call it Little Caribbean. How did it become Little Caribbean? How do you erase people's history? You weren't the founder, because the founder is listed here, and you weren't a part of the enslavement class. So who built what? It was us. And that's why when I go to these and give testimony, I know what the hell I'm talking about. Gowanus. You see it there. You see Gowanus here. Green. Okay. You see the names. Right? So as I'm going through this, Hick Street, Hewlett, Weeksville. the butterfly houses. We go right here. But let's go down because I want to get to those who were manumitted, okay? I just wanted to give y'all some names, some of the people. Now, excuse me, the town clerk, supervisor, trustees for the town. You have John Daughtry, somebody Johnson, Walter Berry, John Dean for Dean Street. All of this information here. So again, if you weren't a part of the founding families and you weren't a part of the Black elite,
come on,
you weren't a part of the Black enslaved,
come on,
you found something. How did you contribute to the establishing of Brooklyn? And now you got the nerve to call it Little Caribbean? That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. Joseph Smith for Smith Street, right? That's so disrespectful, you know, and a lot of people just don't get it, how they are contributors to the erasure of our history, right?
I think that some of them do get it, but go ahead.
I know they do. I know they do, sis. Let me move on down here a little bit. Okay. I think I could go one more. Let me see. Okay. All right. So here was a person who was manumitted, right? In 1813. It says, we the subscribers, overseers of the poor. Right here, the top line up here. We the subscriber, overseers of the poor for the town of Brooklyn, having examined a foresaid Diana Orange and find her age to be about 40 years old and insufficient ability to gain her livelihood, and do approve of the said manumission and allow the same to be recorded. Witness our hand this 12th day of April 1813. Sam Sackett. Sackett Street. Overseer of the poor. Okay? So when I give testimony at these goddamn hearings, I'm telling what I know, not what I think. Not what I think. Be it remembered that on the 13th day of April 1813, I, Andrew Merson of the town of Brooklyn in Kings County in the state of New York, gentleman and owner of a slave named Cornelia Brown, age about 30 years old, do in conformity of the benevolent act of the legislature of the state passed the 29th of March, 1799. 1799, manumit and set free said Cornelia Brown, and do hereby relinquish all rights and titles to her person and services, and in witness whereof I and the above date written, sealed and delivered. Right? So as you go through this, and it's a little heavy. It could be a little heavy because you see people who were 15, in their 20s, early 30s, who were manumitted. And again, this is in the 1700s, some of them. And it's quite disturbing. It's quite disturbing. But today you got Little Russia, Little Poland, Little Caribbean, Little Haiti. You were all co-conspirators in the erasure of a crime that took place here. So while you jumping up and down, waving your flag, you know, as Brother Devon said, when him and Brother Sage look across the street at that event, all the flags of all these nations, no flag of ours was waved over there.
Can I add something really quick? Really quick. You know what other flag is not there? And I didn't have to look at it because I've been to all the parties. So and let me understand. Let me let you know. It's not a gotcha because I let y'all know I've been to all the parties. I had a good time. I had a good time. Okay, when I was younger. Okay, I've been to all the parties. So by you telling people I went to the parties, don't say that's not a gotcha. But I've been to all the parties. You know what other flag is not there? The Pan-African flag.
They ain't waving loud and proud. And you know, the more you dig into our story, you know, I feel bad for a lot of things that I did and said, not knowing the story. Because like I said, when you look at these ledgers and you see these people, the jobs they did, you know, their age, the time period, it makes me wonder why we don't have a Thomas Fortune Avenue in Brooklyn, but we got a Marcus Garvey Boulevard. It's crazy. It's crazy because when you have to look at the real story, it gives real context. And that's why a lot of people today say, that immigrants are brought over to erase our lineage and our legacy. And that's true in a certain instance here, right? Now, I'm gonna go because I want y'all to see these folks was goddamn overseers too. Overseers of the poor. Now, what does that mean? Some might ask. Let me stop sharing that real quick. Some might ask, what does that really mean? Before I move on to this video, Brother Divine, anything you want to say or any questions you have?
No, I just wanted to absolutely, even though, you know, and she was not there for the record. So it was just myself, Brother Sage, and Brother Tad. And for her to be able to hit that on the head, that the Pan-African flag was not one of the flags that was up, says a lot about the reality of the con that was pulled on us for as long as it was pulled on us. And I just want to while we on this point, because I didn't want to lose it or wait to the final thoughts. When we're talking about doing the history and doing the research and how it always comes back to us. I want you guys that don't know, because I'm pretty sure some of y'all do know, and I'm pretty sure you guys, the OGs, know. But for those that are watching and will watch the replay, look up the history and the motivation for that Pan-African flag. It is literally the flag of the coons. Because when you look that up and get the origin of that flag and realize it was an interpretation of what a foreigner thought being black meant.
Yep.
You'll start to really understand why it's not flown by anybody else and why it was forced on us to fly it, thinking it was representing all those people that don't. I land there.
Brother Divine took it there. Woo! I forget, there was a song called "Everyone Has a Flag But the Coon."
Facts, brother. Facts.
Harvey said, "I'm gonna make a flag then." So it's coons have a flag. Those aren't his words verbatim, but that is the reason why that red, black, and green flag was created. Yeah. Wow, Brother Divine
that
took
Pan-African propaganda.
Yeah. Wow, Brother Divine.
Brother Tad, I got a question though. Brother Tad,
get on camera.
Seeing these people, the founding families of Brooklyn, how they were overseers of the poor. What are your thoughts on that when you see the names of these folks and how it relates to you being a Brooklynite?
Well, I am the second generation Brooklyn. My father's the first. My mother was born in Harlem. Both of their parents are from the South. I love Brooklyn. Grew up with Foxy Brown. Grew up with Biggie. So when we talk about hip-hop legends and superstars, I'm part of that fabric. Shout out to my partner C Gutter. Check us out every Sunday on the OG Wisdom Podcast. But when we talk about Brooklyn, I'm that. Went to Brooklyn public schools, went to Brooklyn County jails. So yeah, I'm as Brooklyn as it's gonna get. But when you do the knowledge and you do the history, especially in East New York, because we talk about the African burial ground in Manhattan, but many don't know that there was an African burial ground in East New York. So when you think of these roads like Skank and other places, I can't think of them all right now. These are the vestiges of slavery that you talk about, Sister Keisha, because the way that the story is sold to us, and I'm going to say this real quick, the way that the story is sold to us is that slavery only really happened in the South. It wasn't too much in the North, that black people only came here through slavery. There were no black people here in America prior to our enslavement. And this is the script you have to go by when you in that Pan-African mindset, because there's not even an agreed on philosophy or ideology other than unifying all black people around the world, which we know is just not going to happen. But when I see these things, knowing Brooklyn, knowing how Brooklyn was its own city at one point, and its economic power that Brooklyn did have, and with black people here in Brooklyn, this is why the story has to get buried. This is why we say foundational black Americans, but because legal purposes, when Caribbeans and immigrants come here, they come here to be what? An American citizen. So by legal definition, they do become black Americans. However, they're not part of the fabric. They don't have the bloodline. They don't have the history. So with that said, this is why we got to correct the error, because people speak too fast, and even the Pan-Africans, because this ain't to beat up on Caribbeans. This is to put things in its proper context, because people are getting everything all twisted and mangled when we have these serious conversations. I hear people saying, oh, the FBA, they just begging for handouts. Oh, time. Flag on the play, because if anybody knew anything about foundational black Americans, everything we have, we fought for, even our freedom. It wasn't at the beneficence of white folks. Abraham Lincoln said it himself. If it was up to him, we'd still be enslaved, but he couldn't deal with the resistance we were constantly put up. But then Caribbeans come, oh, the only time he was lit was with Dr. King. Guess what? He was a foundational black American. And there was people before Dr. King. But again, we've been fighting. That is our legacy, because they don't know Gabriel Prosser. They don't know Denmark Vesey. They don't know Nat Turner. They know Harriet Tubman, but they don't know Sojourner Truth. They don't know Ida B. Wells. So, and these are just the popular names that's among our little circle that we know, because there's so many unsung people. Some of them may think Harriet Tubman created the Underground Railroad, but it was already popping before she got on. She's just one of the most famous people. There's so much to our story that we're still uncovering right now. And Sister Keisha, what I always say, we are literally making history. I said this for years. That's why you won't catch me quoting too many people. I'm like, I'm living history myself. Everything we do, we making history. But these people want to live in a pastime paradise. They want to talk about ancient Kemet. They want to talk about 18 whatever. But what are you doing right now? And a lot of them are not doing nothing but offering lip service and fiery posts and memes. And we off that shit. We the real deal. We the ones that's getting out there, cracking heads and pounding the pavement, agitating people. And of course, they don't get it now, but they'll get it later. People didn't get it when Malcolm was doing it. People didn't get it when King was doing it. It's only afterwards. But I know my obituary gonna be lit when it's my time to go. What your shit gonna look like?
Come on.
What your shit gonna look like? A 48.5 by 11. You was born here. You went to this public school. You worked at this job for 50 years. You got this amount of children, and you're survived by whoever. Goodbye. But what have you contributed to society? Will they remember you in 5 and 10 years from now? Will you be, hold on, let's get Pan-African. Will Tahuti have your name in the scribe when you get to the underworld? Will your heart be light as a feather when you transition on over? Will your heart weigh that feather down and you get devoured by the devourer? Or you gonna wait for the Gabriel to let you in? You're gonna sound the horn. However you see it, however you look at it, how will you be remembered? A lot of y'all are on the wrong side of history. And y'all don't even realize your ship is sinking. We throwing you a lifeboat of truth. We're not saying don't honor your ancestors. We're not saying don't honor your parents and your grandparents. Wherever you from, honor that. Stand on that. But don't tell me don't stand on mine while you come over here and try to cosplay like you're a real Brooklyn head.
I know, Brother Tad, a lot of people getting ticked off because we weren't doing this. We were trying to cover everybody.
Right.
And we did ourselves a disservice and we let them rock. Because they know who the real freedom fighters are. I think you sent me this clip earlier today. I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna go to the quotes, from those who fought in the Civil War. Let's play this clip that Brother Tad said, because they desperate now. They desperate. Why you ain't asking, those folks to help you? You said, they are the power, they be almighty and powerful. Why you not asking them to help you? And one thing I know for certain, and 10 things I know for sure, we don't go to nobody else's country and co-opt their history. We don't go and rename their towns, parishes after us. We don't do that. We don't go and have no Black American Day parades. None of that.
Nope.
We don't do that. Another thing we don't do is leave our ancestors behind. Listen, I'm buried 2 miles, 2.3 to be exact, where both of my great grandmothers are buried. I ain't going nowhere. My dad was unalived in Brownsville. In Bed-Stuy. My mother transitioned at home in Fort Greene. Let's be clear. Fort Greene was the home of Black elite. Y'all don't have to believe me. Look it up. Look it up. I'm not leaving. Don't tell me about your ancestors. And you left them. You left them. And you wonder why the homeland is still in shambles. We standing 10 toes down with us. Now I'm gonna play this clip and we'll come right back. Brother Tad sent me this earlier. But hold on.
No hatred out there against African American. You have to understand that there are 3 groups of Africans, even on the continent. There are Africans that we call the Negropeans African, who are Europeanized Africans. You see them, they are wearing the African clothes, but their mind is Europeans. They call them Black French. They consider themselves to be French than even African. They are the one ruling the continent right now. Then you have the Arabic side African, who are Muslims. They think they are more Arabs than African.
Yes, brother. Go ahead, brother. You going in. You going in.
They are Abdullah, they are Ali, they are Salah. They cannot the total factor of African identity. You need to know those Africans, they are there. Then there are the Pan-African, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Sheikh Anta Diop, the school that we come from. We look at African Americans as the people who are going to resurrect the African continent. That's the reality.
What did he say? What did he say? Who does he look to resurrect? You see, but we tired of doing the heavy lifting, partner. Don't talk to us. Get your goddamn tribe in order. Don't talk to us. And a lot of people having these conversations now, but you wasn't having them before. You clout chasing, and I see what you're doing. But let me continue.
The salvation of Africa will come from the diaspora. It has always come from the diaspora.
The salvation of who? But y'all bigging up Abraham Traore and everybody else. That ain't your salvation. That's what he said. I ain't saying it. That's what he said. We got films to tell your story. You ain't do it. You ain't do it. treat Garvey the same way we did here in Jamaica, that's a goddamn lie. That's a goddamn lie. They bigging up Bob Marley more than they do Garvey over there. This is a fact. And I stand on that one. Let me continue.
Marcus Garvey brought the resurrection that brought the independence that we have. Okay, it is the diaspora that brought the Pan-Africanism that brought Ghana into independence. It has always...
Pause. We did Kwame Nkrumah's study. Go ahead, Tad. Let them know. Because you
over here in the U.S.
Okay.
He got his degrees over here in the U.S. We were so influential. And that's the part that really... It really grinds my gears. See, I've been to Africa 4 times. I'm always going to say that because being a Pan-African, I felt it was my duty to go to Africa. Not recognizing a lot of Pan-Africans didn't go to Africa, but of course, long as you burn your incense, wear your locks and dashikis, you African. You don't have to take the pilgrimage to, and like I said before, I encourage folks, if you're curious, go over there. Don't take my word for it. Do your own due diligence. Do your own research. You ain't going to say Brother Tad lied to you about it. But it's so funny that once they get here, it's later for us. So we didn't do nothing. We have no culture. But our culture has always been fighting. But when we say what this guy said, whoever this brother is, when we say that, when we say Pan-African rely on us, because I don't see Pan-Africans running to Jamaica. I don't see them running to Haiti. I don't see them running to Guyana or Grenada. They're all coming to America. And to live with who? Live amongst us, cosplayers for a little while till they get their bread up. Then they dip off and try to run to the Europeans. Try to get to the Milky Way, the white side of town. So it's very disingenuous. And this is one of the reasons why so many of us have fell back from Pan-Africanism. But see, folks like you and I, Sister Keisha, they can't play with because when we were in the Pan-African movement, we organized. We didn't just put on costume shows.
Facts.
We organized.
And got it done.
Oh, definitely got a lot of things done. And see, this is where the hatred for the young ones like Sister Brooke and Brother Divine come in, because the torch is being passed and they're doing work. They're getting things done, serious work done. Umar, where the school at, homie? Where the school at, Umar? Stop playing. But on another note, though, shout out to our brother Marcus Klein, who really got a school in producing baby geniuses. See, it's not all about the rhetoric. If you want to be Pan-African, that's your prerogative. But be productive. Don't be a shit-popping Pan-African like so many others. Get on social media, talk crazy on this soil. Because, Sister Keisha, and I'm going to step off my soapbox. You said some profound things. You know where your family's buried. The reality kicked in for me when I was over in Ghana. We were going to bury Mama Nzinga's ashes over there. Peace be upon her. She had transitioned, she's from Queens, but she built the school in Ghana. We was going to bury her ashes at the school property. It was very emotional. But then, of course, there was some bureaucracy about that because you can't just you can't bury the ashes just anywhere. Special permits, spend that bread. And I realized if I want to pay homage to my ancestors, I don't know these people that's buried on all these other places. Not talking about Mama Nzinga, but the people that are buried in them places. I'm like, yo, I've been to my grandfather's gravesite, who's buried next to his parents down in Little Mount, South Carolina, where it was an all-black cemetery because they bought them plots back when the cemeteries were segregated. I've been to my mother's father's cemetery plot down in Charleston, South Carolina, where it's all black people, all of my ancestors, because the cemeteries were segregated. See, people come here and act like Jim Crow and segregation was so long ago. Nah. My mother told me she remembered being bused to New Utica High School. It's not that long ago. Our ancestors lived that American history y'all just reading about. My grandfather at his funeral down in South Carolina in 2005, when I was down there, says, I'm looking, he's next to his mother, his father, his grandparents, all of these people I barely think about. But I'm like, this is my ancestors. This is my bloodline. And it's all black folks. It's all of them. This is my roots down here in South Carolina. My cousin's
question.
Yes.
Now, you said a vast majority of your family came from Virginia. Is that right?
My grandmother's mother is from Virginia, Halifax County, Virginia.
So just for context, Virginia had the most free black people during that time. But go ahead.
Oh, but since we're talking about Halifax County, Virginia, and people like to say we're pretendians, I don't know if you can remember, but back in 2015, I was encouraging people to go to the Schomburg Research and Cultural Center down on 135th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. It's free to all of y'all. Get your library card, do all that, right? But I saw my great-grandmother's birth certificate. My great-grandmother, I knew her. I believe she died in 1983. She died in 1983 or 1984. My great-grandmother passed away, so I knew her. That was my grandmother's mother. My grandmother that's still living, the only grandparent I still have left. Her mother. And this real quick. She was born 1910, Halifax County, Virginia. Her birth certificate said Native American. I saw that with my own two eyes at the Schomburg Research and Cultural Center. Came back telling people, yo, I always knew my great-grandmother was Native American, but I saw her birth certificate. Didn't say Negro, didn't say colored, didn't say none of that, right? But here's the funny part about Halifax County, Virginia. This is where the paper genocide started. If y'all don't know, Google it right now real quick, paper genocide, Halifax County. There was a man named Dr. Walter Plecker who was in charge of the census. He went and changed everybody's race. If you was Native American, he turned you to a mulatto or just colored. He did that in 1924 in Halifax County, Virginia. My great-grandmother was 14 years old when he started changing the birth certificates, because when I pull up the census, her as an adult with my grandmother and my grandmother's siblings living in the house, it all says Negro, which I was like, how did she go from Native American to Negro? And me and Doggy was having that conversation, and then he sent me something about Dr. Walter Plecker, and it's called the paper genocide, where he's changed everybody, a lot of people's identity. So when we talk about black people, we got to remember black and white was created here in the United States. It's called the creation of whiteness, and you had to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant to be considered white, because Irish, Italian, and Jews weren't considered white back then. But again, here we go. Everybody think they know everything because they're regurgitating rhetoric and not doing their due diligence, because there's so much to know. And they're, switching the game as we go on. But I'm off my soapbox with that one. Shout out to everybody in Brooklyn.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let me finish playing this, and I have
to come from the diaspora. So those who say that Africans hate the diaspora, maybe they are speaking to the Negropeans. There is no hatred out there against African American. You have to understand that there are three groups of Africans, even on the continent. There are Africans that we call the Negropeans African, who are Europeanized Africans. You see them, they are wearing the African clothes, but their mind is Europeans. They call them Black French. They consider themselves to be French than even African. They are the one ruling the continent right now. Then you have the Arabic side African, who are Muslims. They think they are more Arabs than African.
Yes, brother. Go ahead, brother. You going in. You going in.
They are Abdullah, they are Ali, they are Salah. They cannot
yes.
The total factor of African identity. You need to know those Africans, they are there. Then there are the Pan-African, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Sheikh Anta Diop, the school that we come from. We look at African Americans as the people who are going to resurrect the African continent. That's the reality. The salvation of Africa will come from the diaspora. It has always come from the diaspora. Marcus Garvey brought the resurrection. Let
me say, again, get your tribe in order. Get your tribe in order. And, If that is true, why are they in our government undermining everything that we do? Where is that energy for them? Don't tell us nothing. If you know they out of pocket, deal with them. Get them out of office. Whole space is about them. That's what you need to be doing right now. If it's really about that. Because when this sister tells her story,
about the fact that we get abused over here too. Y'all invited us to come home, which by the thousands we did. We came running to Ghana. People sold their homes, moved out of their apartments, sold everything. Some people packed up containers and moved over here just to get over here and realize this is not our home. Y'all call us foreigners. Ghanaians call us that. We didn't make that word up. We didn't start calling ourselves that. We don't know that that's what y'all call the white people and the Chinese because we're not around them. But we know that that's what y'all call us. Let's talk about the fact that we get abused over here too. Y'all invited us to come home, which by the thousands we did. We came running to Ghana. People saw.
He says, where that love at? Why do you have a separate price for yourself and one for your brothers that came home? And this video goes into further details. You can find it on YouTube, where she talks about, you know, how they bum rush you at the airport, give me something small, you know, how, you know, the price gouging, you know, if you want a citizenship, it's price gouging there. The brother who lives, I think he's in Uganda now. Go ahead, brother Devon, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, man, this is, when I speak about the con that's been ran on us, and even though, you know, no shade to the other video and the brothers that's, you know, feeling like he's cooking, but I want to add a fourth African to that list, right? He had 3 of them on the list. And what's interesting is that they were going back and forth and bigging up that third group that he labeled the Pan-Africans, and that's the extreme minority of all the African groups he could label. Here's the fourth one, and the largest and the most prevalent since we've started learning about Africans, since they sold us over here in the first place. The fourth African are the Africans that have been warring, genocide, raping, trafficking, pillaging each other long before any white person or any Arab stepped foot on the continent. That is the largest and most prevalent and most hidden group of Africans that he didn't mention. That's number 4, and that's the biggest. And that's the one that they continually try to indoctrinate us to pretend does not exist. And in fact, I was watching a clip from another African brother that was talking about that fourth group. And what he said was quite profound. And it looks like more true than anything else we've seen come out of the continent. He said, we all know, and I'm paraphrasing, we all know that there were African tribes that sold other African tribes here to begin with. And he said, how many of their descendants are those that come over to the US and stir and continue to be as divisive and undermining as they were back then? And that is a question that we have to start asking ourselves. The same way we look at the white folks and we look at all of them, because I can't remember who said, I don't know, I think it was Muhammad Ali, when he talked about the snakes, and there might be some good snakes amongst that huge group of snakes, but I'll be a fool to try to pick and choose which ones are dangerous or not.
Right.
We have to start looking at those continental African immigrants the same exact way. We'd be a fool to try to figure out which ones were the descendants of the slave owners. And I tell this story often. I'll take a breath here. I had a next door neighbor. He worked for the MTA. I saw him every day. This is when I was working overnight. And this is when I was first starting to understand and learn about the concept that Africans sold other Africans, right? Because that's something that Pan-Africanism will die to convince you never happened, or that there was a good form of slavery and it wasn't the same, and so we can't view it the same. And I read that that article in the New Yorker about the Nigerian slave owner and that his ancestor, the young woman that wrote the article, and she was talking about learning that history for the first time. And so shit, we from Brooklyn, so I approached my Nigerian neighbor. And I said, yo, bro, are you descendants of Nigerian slave owners? And when I asked him the question, and as direct as I could be, he looked like he saw a ghost. And to his credit, he admitted it, that yes, his ancestors sold slaves. But here he was, living right next door to me, working for the city, and experiencing and getting the same benefits that my ancestors. There goes the article, y'all, man. She quick with the receipts. And this is what we're talking about. How many of them that claim that we're the divisive ones are the ancestors, like this sister admitted, to being the descendants of those that sold other tribes, and in some cases, their own tribes into slavery on the continent and off. And this is what we're uncovering. This is what we're learning. And so to even the disrespect, the ability to lie with a straight face, to even begin to label us divisive when you know that this is a part of your history, like Sister Brooke has pointed out many times, and in her testimony, that there are videos and tours on the continent that detail what they did to those Africans long before they ever left the continent, how they primed them for slavery and for the Middle Passage, and to be docile and drug them. Like the history is deep. And so we will no longer pretend that history doesn't exist, or that is a favorable version of slavery, brutality, and torture. We're not doing that no more.
You gotta love it. You gotta love the truth. And you know, a lot of people, like Taz said, they just stuck with old information, outdated information, and don't want to see the forest for the trees. They don't want to see what it is. Go ahead, Sister Brooke.
Yeah, because I can't let that video that you played with the Africans, you see how that name that was across the front, Ola Inca companies, I can't let that slide. I'm going to have to talk about them right there. So he blocked me years ago because he put up a video of them supposedly recreating the slave trade. Yo, my heart beats fast and I'm still hot about it. And I wish I had the actual video, but this is before I did things like that. And it was like Africans whipping other Africans, but they had white paint on their face. They're, just mocking us. And I was like, I said, this is not homage. This is mocking. And then I was blocked. So that company, that Ola Inca, I want everybody to know who they are and never, ever support them, because they sit there and pretend and act like they with us. But when that was him showing us who he really is and how he really feel about us by putting up that video of them mocking what we went through. And like I said, I couldn't. I refuse to let his name be on the screen for any seconds anywhere I'm at without letting everybody know what you did. Other people may have forgotten, but I haven't, and I never will, even though you got me blocked.
Sister Vanessa said the woman, former, what's her name, from Essence Magazine, said the very same thing on the Breakfast Club. And people like to throw stuff like that out the window, like it don't matter. It don't matter. The truth is a hard pill to swallow, but it go down easy. and it go down smooth when you got the proper liquid to bring it down with you. Go ahead, Brother Divine.
Yes. Wanga. Her family were part of the East Africans. Man, this is the wild. This is what I'm saying when again, no disrespect to present company. This is what I'm talking about when I say Pan-Africanism and the Pan-Africanists move like sleeper cells. Like, this is the type of terrorism that they cover for. Like, to play in our face, to play on our tops. And you got Wenger, who, and when you guys talked about naming the little areas in Brooklyn, right? I take that personal. Because like Brother Ted, I'm a multi-generational New Yorker and Brooklynite. And what we're seeing is that colonize people. And Pan-Africanism enables it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about we the same because we got melanin. Like Wenger, and she knows it. This is the wild shit. Because she know nobody, and there's a that saying that goes around that is a meme. It's like Batman shouldn't have been able to beat that shit out of you. She willingly gave up the enslavement ghost. Like, she willingly told them, oh yeah, my family, we sold slaves. Like, the shit was matter of fact. And this is who was in charge of Essence. You colonized our publication and then had Jambalaya versus Jollof bullshit. And then wonder why it ain't hitting no more. Wonder why it was just a knockoff of what it used to be. Because you come here and you are the knockoff of who we are. And so this is the stuff that we are no longer allowing. And there was a excerpt of somewhere she was at speaking. And this is what I'm talking about, where it's just disrespect and the fucking disregard, right? Like, she got on that mic mimicking our vernacular. Because dead ass ain't a Kenyan colloquial term or word or phrase.
And that's dead ass.
And that's dead ass. She uses our language to then try to shame us, talking about, let's not do this whole thing where we act like all black ain't the same. Man, trick, like, yo, your family's so slave, like, your family's so under Kenyans, you gonna act like we the same? Like, come on, man. Like, this is the stuff that they be playing in our face. And like I said, again, not present company included, the Pan-Africanists have allowed this shit and make excuses for it. They're the ones that, I mean, you see how they are with us. Let us say a word or anything. We can't say nothing, man. Like, we can't say shit. And they'll be on our top. Like, you can't, you got to support your brothers and sisters and what you saying. And you see how they are with us, just saying we our own ethnic group. But then we talk about the enslavement of not only our people, but of the other Africans you claim that you want to unite with. And you'll make every excuse in the world on why that shit was okay, or why it can't be magnified, or why it's really just a white supremacist talking point. To acknowledge history, to acknowledge what actually happened. And so, man, these people, like, man, it's like I'm feeling like Sister Brooke. I'll be trying to stay calm. Sister Brooke be ready to turn up quick, but it's like, this is like really near and dear, because this is what our whole movement is built on. Like, getting the justice. Like Sister Keisha said something, I'll take a breath here, I promise. Sister Keisha said something, I just want to add something to it. Because she talked about her lineage, her heritage, her story, where her ancestors are built and where their energy still remains. And you got the nerve to be somebody that left your ancestral home, and you think you got the nerve to talk down on us or dictate to us anything that we talking about. And here's the part I wanted to add. Because you left your ancestral home, and we all know your ass ain't never going back. And that's the part that we can never be. Because whenever we go somewhere, we bring our black asses home because we know where home is.
You know, Brother Devon. Oh, go ahead, sister.
Real quick, one thing. Why are we the only ones mad? It's a whole diaspora. We ain't the only people that they sold. We not the only descendants of the people they sold. Why are we the only ones mad? Why everybody else quiet? Come on. I want to know. Caribbean, why you not? You okay with that? Brazil, you okay with that? Cuba, you okay with that? I'm asking for my lineage. Why are we the only ones mad about it? It seemed like to me all of us should be upset because y'all got more Africans than we did. Because when I'm doing my lineage, especially on my father's side, it's only one person that they think is from Africa. And I think I just discovered a picture of her and she don't look African. She look Native American. So that now we just going over to my mother's side. And I know my mother's side is only one. So y'all got the most in the Caribbean, in Cuba, in Brazil. Well, we know Brazil got the lion's share.
Yeah, about 80% at least.
So why y'all not mad? Why y'all glazing over this history like it never happened? Y'all okay? Okay, so I guess they okay with being sold. Well, we not.
Is that a rhetorical question, though, Sister Brooke?
It is a rhetorical question because I don't think I ain't gonna never get no answer.
Because I know the answer. It's because we're the only ones who study. We're the only ones who really care. We've been the ones holding up the Pan-Africanism. That's why we care so much, because we've been lied to for so long. And we've been lied to so long. And I'm glad you brought that up, Sister Brooke, because that's where I was going with it, because only like 3 to 5% of the kidnapped Africans came over here.
Wait, 10. Did you say 3 to 5%?
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay, I want y'all to remember Taz said that, okay? But go ahead.
All right, about 3 to 5% came over here. And as we already established, there were already black people here, but then we were told that all black people came here through the transatlantic slave trade for the Pan-Africans, the Great Mayafa. You know, we were told that's how we all got here, even though our grandparents told us what their grandparents knew, because remember, slavery wasn't that long ago. It's only a few generations ago. And this was all about a land grab. So, to your point, Sister Brooke, we do find a few. But remember, by what? 4 generations, you already got like 100 people to make one you. All 100 people ain't come from the same place. You're talking about 100 different bloodlines. 2 grandparents, 4 grandparents, that's 6 people right there. 8 great-grandparents, that's 8 and 6 is what? 14, then you keep doubling and doubling and doubling. And so by the time you get back there, you got people from all walks of life making your bloodline. That's why we talk about we're our own different ethnic group. We're a whole separate ethnic group with a different culture that people don't want to acknowledge. And it's funny when people say we don't have a culture, because this is going to be my last point. Everything a particular group of people do is a culture. When you get a job, you have a corporate culture. When you're in the street, there is a street culture. You go to jail, there is a jail culture. Culture is just the way that a shared experience amongst a particular group of people that do things and behave a certain way. Black Americans, we speak, we eat, we walk, we dress in a way that's different from other Black people around the world. Most of them copy us. We don't copy them. Unless we're Pan-Africans, then we might throw in a dashiki, a big unk, a head wrap, whatever. But for the most part, everybody cosplay the people that they say have no culture, whether it's Busta Rhymes, KRS-One, Fat Joe, all of them. I seen somebody say today, Mexican said that Black folks didn't create hip-hop. So I want to know who was playing bachata and ska and reggae when we was having them park jams before it was called hip hop. We got to get the language right. We got to get the facts straight, and we not dealing with nobody coming in this house disrespecting us. We could coexist, but the disrespect gonna stop because Black Americans, if we don't do nothing else, we like to fight. Please believe that part. And I'm off my soapbox.
Can I correct you on one little thing?
Yes.
Tab? The dashikis was us. They wasn't wearing no dashikis until we started wearing them dashikis and making them popular.
Right, but dashikis is so old. That's what I'm saying. Like, ooh.
So even that is us.
When I went to Africa, right? And I'm be honest with you, the groups. Every time I went with the groups, they're thinking of an Africa that you see on TV. Because you're right, like they don't. I mean, they have dashikis on the continent, but they don't wear it like that. And we wear the old ones over here. Like it's all jumbled up. It's crazy. So for people who say we don't have a culture, we are the culture. The way we walk, the way we talk, all that is us. The music, like I'll be honest with you, I'm just tired of the disrespect. Black Americans, we've been respecting everybody. Everybody could come, yo, you fresh off the boat, come to the hood, walk me to the store, let me introduce you to everybody on the block. You down with us? You cool with me? You down with us? But now that the numbers done swelled, everybody's starting to feel themselves. Now that they can FaceTime their people back in their homeland, in their village or whatever, everybody's starting to feel themselves. And it's too disingenuous, man. And that's the part that's killing me.
Facts, brother. Facts. Y'all laid it out perfectly. But remember, Tad said 3 to 5%. Let's hear with the stories, and I'll drop the link so y'all can listen to this book, when you want to, okay? We always try to give you some jewels when you want thorough Black Talk. So I'll drop the link a little bit later on before we close so you guys can listen to the book in its entirety. The name of the book is called The Slaves' War, The Civil War in the Words of, right? Written by Andrew Ward. I think Richard Allen may be the narrator here. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. But anyway, let's play this because remember Sister Brooke talked about the Irish and all of that. You're going to hear what these gentlemen say about the freedmen, number one, and what their status and lot was in this country. All right? You're also going to hear them talk about the percentage that actually came here and tell a couple of stories about them people. And anyway, go ahead, Sister Brooke.
I just wanted to add one thing. I want y'all to notice when we talked about the Gilded Age and when we go into this book right here, I want you to notice that there's not one Italian talked about. There's not one Jewish person talked about. And there were no Puerto Ricans talked about. Okay. I just want to.
Ricardo wasn't in that?
No, not yet. Not yet. So I just want to. And let's truth be told, no West Indians, no Caribbeans. Wasn't none of them here during the Gilded Age. Wasn't none of them here during these times. So how the fuck can you build anything when you weren't here?
Let me play this clip and we'll come right back. Hold on, family.
And Millie Simpkins recalled how a slave owner in Nashville used to smear the mouths of his slaves with grease every Sunday and instruct them that if anybody asked if they had meat, they were to reply, "Yes, lots of it." An elderly Georgia slave owner told a visitor that If a man could sit on his porch and see 50 Negroes ride his mules in from work, that was aristocracy.
Pause. Land had no value. Let me tell you, research it for yourself. I want y'all to hear me clearly. Land had no value until you put a slave on it. It had no value. Only men with property can vote. Black men had the right to vote before the white woman. And that's why she always coming for you. See, they don't forget their history. You do. That's why. But I'm going to continue. Hold on.
But if he went broke and had to sell a slave, his reputation was gone and he could not borrow a dollar.
His reputation was gone and he couldn't borrow a dollar because it had no value. Hold on.
Though a visiting Irishman reported that Virginia slaves of both classes display great contempt for poor freedmen, who were generally dirty and ragged, aristocratic masters put freedmen on a par or somewhat above poor whites.
Pause. Even though the freedmen may have been dirty and rugged, they were above poor whites. And you see, they don't forget their history. So, brothers, I want you to remember that when you're getting pulled over by the police. Sisters, when you go in these doctor's offices, in these hospitals, remember that. They don't forget their history. They know you above them, and we still are.
The free Negro was tolerated around the gentleman's home as his barber, and frequently served to wait the table in case of need if regarded worthy. James Thomas, himself a barber, never saw a poor white man make his appearance anywhere about or around the rear of the premises, nor the front either. Poor whites were merely the hangers-on who were ready to chase a runaway Negro or go on the patrol force to watch slaves and free Negroes. They used to stand on the corner a whole day simply to get a nod from a gentleman when he passed. But the richest slaveholders wanted nothing to do with a white man that could not rise above that. When I was a boy, recalled Waters McIntosh, we used to sing, "Rather be a Negro than a poor white man."
That's a real song. You can Google it. And I think they may have it on YouTube. That's a real song. Go ahead.
"I think I'm better than a certain class of white folks," declared a Tennessee slave who had known white folks from the cradle up, and he didn't mind telling them so neither. Masters didn't never allow us to mix with what they called the poor white trash, a Tennessee slave recalled, for fear they would learn us how to steal and drink, and it was the truth, too.
Who was doing the stealing and the alcoholics? Huh?
We know who.
"I believe that those poor white folk are to blame for the Negro stealing," agreed Octavia George, "because they would get the Negroes to steal their masters' corn, hogs, chickens, and many other things, and sell it to them for practically nothing." Miscegenation vastly complicated the intricacies of the South's class structure, for though people might escape their class, they could never entirely escape their race, and in the South, race was paramount. "Slavery was a curse to this nation," declared Amy Elizabeth Patterson of Kentucky, "a curse which still shows itself in hundreds of homes where mulatto faces are evidence of a heinous sin, and proof that there has been a time when American fathers sold their children at the slave marts of America." There was two classes of white folks, as far as one former slave from Tennessee was concerned. Some who wouldn't bother with black women, and others who would. But the ones who wouldn't would not mix with those who would. Jacob Manson, however, maintained that It was a hard job to find a master that didn't have women among his slaves. That was a general thing among the slave owners. During slavery, the women had to do what their masters told them to do. If they didn't, they pick on them and whip them. Jacob Aldrich's Texas master was bad about that, and his sons too. Master would come round to the cabins in the quarters and sometimes tell a slave's husband to go outside and wait till he'd do what he wanted to do. Her husband has to do it, and he couldn't do nothing about it. Aldrich's master even had children by his own children.
You heard that? You heard that?
Yep.
So when you deal with the psyche of our folks, and you folks got the nerve to say we don't deserve reparation, F you. And the twat you came from. I hate to be that cold, but it's the facts. You have no say-so.
And kept them all in slavery. By 1860, a higher percentage of blacks than whites had been born in America. In fact, only 1% were African-born. No group.
Now, Tad said 3 to 5. What they said? Uno momento. Oh no, 1%. 1%.
Group except Native Americans had deeper North American roots. Nevertheless, ancestral Africa was a living presence in the slave community. Though the descendants of some tribes acquired reputations as troublesome, many slaves subscribed to the common wisdom among masters and speculators that certain tribal pedigrees were preferable. At the beginning of the 19th century, slaves had been prominently advertised as very prime Congo Negroes, very prime healthy Mandingo Africans, and choice Gold Coast Africans. And some slaves would claim descent from kings and chiefs. "I ain't had no daddy," said Ann Parker of North Carolina, "'cause queens don't marry, and my Mammy Junie was a queen in Africa," to whom her fellow slaves bowed down. "I don't know much about my grandparents," said Octavia George, "other than my mother told me my grandfather's name was Francois and was one time a king in Africa. Old Ben, Charles Balls's grandfather, claimed kindred with some royal family in Africa and always expressed contempt for his fellow slaves, they being, as he said, a mean and vulgar race, quite beneath his..."
So the disrespect didn't start now. Back then, on the plantation. They already thought they were above us. And these are actual accounts. I'm not making this up.
His rank and the dignity of his former station. And James Thomas remembered a tall, dignified, and bewigged slave from Virginia who claimed to be a prince from Madagascar, and whose fellow slaves seemed to believe he was all he claimed to be. Robert J. Cheatham, in turn, was proud that his family was all black, deeming it proof of the honor of his and his forefathers' masters that their blood was never mingled together to produce a mixed race.
What'd he say? He wasn't intermingling over there. And they wasn't intermingling over there.
Many slaves of mixed parentage chose to deny any white lineage by ascribing their sharp features and lighter skin to Indian blood. Native American ancestry was also said to account for a slave's ferocious temper. L.R. Farabee recalled that because her mother was part Indian, she was a spirited woman and would not suffer to be imposed upon by her master nor mistress. Solomon Northrop admired the bold defiance of a slave woman named Lethe he encountered at an auction house.
Solomon Northrop, the free black man who was kidnapped who sold into slavery. Right?
Movie 12 Years a Slave.
Let's get it.
She had long, straight hair and bore more the appearance of an Indian than a Negro woman. She had sharp and spiteful eyes and continually gave utterance to the language of hatred and revenge. She had been so badly treated by her master that she didn't care any longer who bought her. Pointing to the scars upon her face, the desperate creature wished that she might see the day when she could wipe them off in some man's blood. With all my Negro blood and all that I have passed through, wrote Isaac Johnson of Kentucky, I would rather be in my black skin than in the white skin of his slave-trading master or his white father. Think of being obliged to associate with men of their stamp, say nothing about being their slaves. Viewed through so highly polished a prism of class, Abraham Lincoln appeared to many blacks to be merely a strainer, a rough-hewn, sparsely educated, only moderately prosperous Kentucky immigrant who owned no slaves.
They didn't take too kind to him. They didn't take too kind to him. No, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat. But Sister Brooke, your thoughts on what you've heard so far from this book?
Oh, child. Okay, all right. Okay. You know, before we even get into that part, I forgot one other group, the Chinese. You notice they ain't talking about the Chinese. So that they talk about, oh, they built the railroad, they built the this, they built the Hey, notice they ain't mentioned them not one time. The Chinaman was not mentioned one time. All right, now let's move on to that. So one thing I wanted to point out was even the Africans that came here and said that, you know, they were descendants of kings and chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
If you was a descendant of a king and chief, how did you get on a slave ship? Because your king, your chief, your mama sold you. The other point that I want to bring up is we are the only culture that does not celebrate that white rape that happened to us. Every other culture, including Bob Marley himself, loved, praised, honored that white blood. Whether his mother was raped or it was consensual, I don't know. They say she was young, no. And she was not old enough to consent. So that's what they say. But he didn't fight. When he sang about freedom and he sang about whatever, it wasn't just for Black people. It was for all people. All lives mattered to Mr. Bob. And we see that by the kids that he produced. So we are the only culture who does not create a bond with our oppressor, even if we share the same bloodline.
Sister Marcia, your thoughts on what you've heard from that narrative? You got to unmute, I think.
Yeah, I got it. You know, as I know my people, they will never say they are African. They are from Haiti. They devoid themselves. There is a particular generation of people from Haiti that devoid themselves from being African. And you have to remind them, and you have to go back to them within the stories of their lineage. So I am definitely in understanding of how people will then propagate themselves as, oh, I am higher than this. Because we see this happen here in New York or in the States, or however people want to say it, that people will then say that I am better because I came from this place or this place. But it's all part of the indoctrination of patriarchy that's been happening for over 5,000 years. right? And over these 5,000 years, all of these people are forgetting their motherland. They've erased it from their minds. If it is in the bathwater on the continent that they make you walk around in circles to forget the continent and land on the land that these men place you on and torture you on, it is that. But at the end of the day, it's the same saga. And I have not met, there's even a clip of this woman on Instagram saying, no, I'm Haitian. I'm not from Africa, when her son is going through their lineage. And she's like, no. And the son is like, oh, no, look, I did the ancestry thing. We're African. And she's like, no. We're Nigerian. She said, no, I'm just Haitian. So there is, within the Caribbean, there are so many people who do not identify with being from the continent, no matter how Black or how clear they are. They do not identify with it, and I'm very familiar with it. So it's nothing new being said here at all.
Brother Devon, your thoughts on what you heard on that piece?
Yeah, I want to take the other side to Sister Brooks' argument. Not saying she's wrong, but I also want to point this out, that yes, if the story is true and they are truly descended from kings and queens in Africa, then that is definitely a reality. But I want to highlight the other side of that example, because I believe that they've been running the Princess Zamunda scam before Zamunda was ever invented. And so that is something that we already see is a part of their culture. To elevate themselves amongst their peers, right? And they all use that same talking point, even to today. I have a mansion back home. It's like, so why are you here? It don't even make no sense.
Right.
But they still say it. I own half the village. It's like, so what the fuck you doing here? We don't own shit. It don't make no sense. But that's what they do. And to the second point, I want to say this, because you talked about briefly the white suffragists, right? And so I want to make sure that we're clear, because I think there's too much, in my opinion, too much blame gets put on the white patriarchy, which minimizes the participation of the female half of white supremacy. And so we will not forget that Susan B. Anthony argued against Frederick Douglass when it came time for freedmen men to get the right to vote. And she used the same racist tropes of white supremacy that they claimed was weaponized against them. Don't they always know how to use it to their advantage when the time comes? Right? Don't they always know how to stop being a victim of the white patriarchy when it's time to weaponize whiteness? There's another great book that we should pick up and read, and it's called They Were Her Property. And it talks about all the female slave owners that needed not patriarchy to flex their power of being white. And so the same way it is two wings on the same bird when we talk about left wing white supremacy and right wing white supremacy, the wolf and the fox. I need us to also understand that there is a male arm of white supremacy and there is a female arm of white supremacy, in a way that the patriarchy never benefits foundational Black American men in the way that it will always benefit white women.
Talk about it, brother. You close the show right there. How do you follow that up?
Because that's why I say y'all gotta watch that I don't be promoting shows, but I'm telling you, you want to see the viciousness of these white women? If you're from a corporate background and you have to deal with them, you know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what the hell Sister Marcia is shaking her head. I'm telling you, wicked on top of wicked. Let me play this, and we're going to get ready to get up out of here. Hold on.
Turn the tray around and pray for the North to win. Whether house servants or field hands, slaves would astonish Yankees and rebels alike with the speed with which they learned the news, an alacrity that was all the more amazing considering the pains their masters took to keep them in the dark. Slaves weren't allowed to know or hear any more than could be helped, recalled Sylvia Floyd of Mississippi. The slaves couldn't read nor write, and what few of them that could wasn't allowed to read a thing that was writ on a piece of paper. Though Vice President Stevens would claim he deplored the South's prohibitions against teaching slaves to read, his slaves were more scared of newspapers than they is of snakes now, and us never knowed what a Bible was them days. Whenever Stevens wanted to send a message, he just put George or Mac on a horse and sent them on. But one thing sure, there wasn't no slave knowed what was in them letters. When the white folks wrote notes to each other, recalled Squire Irvin of Tennessee, whosoever carried the note would try to pick up all the news he could gather, both going and coming. But it was powerful little we heard even that way. Such benightedness was the exception, however, even among the most illiterate slaves. While there was not a single slave on our plantation that could read a line, recalled the black educator Booker T. Washington, in some way we were kept informed of the progress of the war almost as accurately as the most intelligent person. The grapevine telegraph was in constant use. When seemingly absorbed in
when we on these TikTok spaces, these X spaces, going live on YouTube, what do you think we're doing? What do you think we're doing? I saw a video yesterday, of these two young black sisters who are college students, and they're having a conversation. Go ahead, Sister Brooke, with this African kid, and he trying to tell them who they are. But go ahead, Sister Brooke, you tell them.
Yo, they did a great job too. So he's trying to tell them. Matter of fact, if you want me to find it, because I just saw it, I might be able to find it.
I got it. You know,
okay,
I'm quick with it. I'm quick with it.
Okay. So yeah, so they're trying to. Okay, I'm gonna just let it play.
All right, hold on. Let me bring it back. Oh, I got it. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
African Americans feel like they're the only people who fight for black rights. We fought for ourselves too.
Pause.
No.
Pause.
We're talking about heroes. We got heroes too.
Okay, but
in America. We're talking about specifically in America and y'all attitudes.
I'm talking about black Americans. I'm saying if you keep talking about like America only.
This is part of the problem too. For black Americans, when we highlight other black Americans doing well, people love to be like, what about them? That's like when we said Black Lives Matter, and they're like, well, blue lives matter, all lives matter, white lives matter. We didn't say that none of y'all matter, but we're
y'all separating yourselves.
No. You have to deal with
if we can recognize y'all heroes,
you have to
we
deal with
do
one issue at a time. If I'm speaking on this issue and you be like, well, what about me? It doesn't. It's just not a call.
Why should African American issues be prioritized?
Because we're in America.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
If my house on fire, why would I bring the ambulance and all them things?
So you're saying your house. I thought it was a black person's house. I thought it was our house on fire.
We live in the same neighborhood, different homes. If
that's what I'm saying. So we separated.
We're separated because when y'all try to assimilate to African American culture, you do it under the guise of white supremacy.
Because if you look at number one song, it's going to be the song by a black person. You look at fashion trends.
It's our house.
Period.
You understand that even the white folks here are in our house. They came and stole our house. Anybody that comes here after, you are in our house. We have more native blood than we have African blood. This is my house. This was my house before the white man ever set his stanky, crusty, corn-smelling foot on this land. So it ain't your, and that's the problem. See, we don't come to your house, even though you tell us that that's supposed to be our motherland. We don't come to your house acting like it's our house. Acting like we own it, telling you what to do in your house. You come to our house with your muddy flip-flops, all on our white couch, just grinding your feet in the couch and disrespecting us in our face. We don't do that. And that's the problem, because, you know, at the end of the day, because y'all don't know history, you don't know it's our house. You constantly thinking that this is the white man's house, and it's not. He is not native to this land. He came over here like a vampire, just like you.
Tell him.
Like I said, you know, make sure y'all send these emails. Make sure y'all send these emails. Make sure you send these emails. Send them every day. You can send them every day. I used to send them at 10 o'clock in the morning, but now I send them about 3:30. My schedule changed. But anyway, I was sending them at 11 a.m. every day. Now I send them at 3:30. I've been a little busy in the mornings, but I still send them every day. One click and it's done. Because see, we coming for ours. We coming for our bread. And we're not stopping here. Then we going over there. So, you know, I hope those 54 countries get it up. Get it up, because we coming for you. You gonna pay too. It's up. And it's stuck. So make sure y'all send these emails. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. The comment is pinned. Shout out again to BX the Gatekeeper. She said they need to go to their homelands. Then they won't have to worry about it. You know, X. Because, you know, people don't believe us. The vile disrespect, hatred, and the scamming has gotten so bad that on X, Nigerians are banned from going live between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. They are banned. So you can't say it's us. Something happened with Sister Marcia camera as well as Brother Black. I don't know. But they are banned. So we just not pulling this out our butt. Sister Filet sent me something yesterday of a tether disrespecting the legacy of Harriet Tubman. Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. But I'm glad, you know, our young people see it for what it is. They ain't playing no games out here, you hear? They ain't playing no games out here. Get your tribe in order. Get your tribe in order. So send those emails.
I just want to remind people that there's more than one email.
Yes.
There's 5 different emails. Please.
Go ahead, tell them.
5 different links. There's 5 different emails. And 5 different links. Each one takes less than 30 seconds. But we are noticing that people are sending like the first link and they're not getting to the rest of them. We need all those emails. At least do the first 4. If you don't do that last one, which is, you know, my personal request for Andrew Barnes to come in and do a presentation. But, you know, at least do the first 4. We really need those emails. President Divine ain't even saying nothing. He needs to be.
You know what, Sister Brooke, I want you to remind me, because the next time we come live, which would be the first of the new year, January 1st, we go live again. I'm going to show, because, you know, these tethers, they like to say, you know, what did y'all do for me? How did you make life easy for me? There are two prominent Black men that I am going to highlight when we come back. Not just highlight, but what laws, legislation passed that you benefit from to this very day. You see, people talk about the civil rights movement. They don't talk about the architect of the civil rights movement. When we say badges of slavery, Timothy Thomas Fortune was the first one to discuss badges of slavery. So when we come back January 1st, I'm going to have that info. So remind me, Sister Brooke, to play a video of our brother, because he definitely breaks down on the economic side what reparations is and how we should get it and all that. So make sure you send that. Go ahead. Tell them about what's on the screen. Go ahead.
Okay, so here we have just the information to the U.S. Freeman Project. You can sign up. People have been doing that. You can sign up for our newsletter, and we're going to give you updates and things like that. Their telephone number, their email address, and their Twitter page, right? And a donation link as well, right? And then you go further down. And the first email, I tried to restructure it a little bit so it's a little bit more straightforward. The first email you're sending is regarding the bill that we have for reparations. The task force is currently on an unconstitutional bill because it is based on race. And so we would like you to send an email for them to our legislators to get them to sign on as sponsors and co-sponsors for our constitutionally sound bill that President Devine and the U.S. Freeman Project wrote with Assembly Person Nikki Lucas. I also want to just add in that President Devine threw them a monkey wrench. He said that how he could probably do it so much better. So I'm gonna let you explain the monkey wrench that you threw them. I'll finish the emails. I'll let you explain. So, because he can do it way better than I can. So the next email is for disaggregation and delineation. And this is so that we can separate ourselves and have our own ethnic group, our own box, our ethnic group status, all of that, lineage, all that, right? And so
before we go on, because I want y'all to understand, they got a Caribbean caucus, Haitian caucus, a Latino caucus, an Asian caucus, but we all Black. We all Black. We don't benefit from that. Go ahead.
No, we do not. So we want to delineate. So, again, President Devine wrote this bill with Assembly Person Nikki Lucas and the other members of the Freeman Project. I was not there. I was not a member at that time. So, please don't act like I wrote it, because I didn't. So that is the bill there. We are trying to get sponsors and co-sponsors for that bill. So when President Devine comes up here, I'm going to let him go into the headway that we have made as a result of these emails that we have gotten. So the first email is for the Black Task Force. The second email is to let me see, go down. The second email is for Kathy, our legislators, the ones who have already done this for the MENA group, the Muslims, and AAPI, which are the Asians. So it should be easy for them to be able to do the same thing for us. And then the last email is going to go to Kathy Holcomb there, right? And so number 5, the 5th email is my pet project. You know what I mean? Because every time at these reparations hearings, we are inundated with these presentations on basically the badges of slavery. That's what it is, but they don't want to call it that. They want to call it everything else and make it about other people and insert other people. So I would like them to do I would like them to pay our brother Andrew Barnes to come in and do a presentation on how immigration has hurt foundational Black Americans. Now, this is not going to focus on melanated immigrants. This is going to focus on all immigration, even so going back before the Italians, before the Uyghurs, before the Uyghur people, before the Chinese people, before the Caribbean people. We're going to talk about all immigration, you know, starting with the Irish and the German, okay? We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to slice it all up. He's going to slice and dice it and get that together. And then, so the last call to action that we have is for we want to remind, as Sister Keisha is always reminding us, that the Democratic Party is the party of slavery, the party of the kidnapping clubs, the party of the War of Reconstruction, the party of the Ku Klux Klan, the party of how you want me to keep going? That is the Democratic Party, and it explains why we see what the disrespect that we see from them today. They have been cosplaying and pretending ever since as to be something that they are not. So it's not enough that we just sit on the couch and not vote for the Democrats. You know, that is great, and we were able to accomplish Kamala losing, you know what I mean, as a result. But unregister from the Democratic Party. Let's get their numbers down to 0, or at least all the people just at CNN, you know, or MSNBC. So we want them their registration numbers to be down to like 5. And I'm gonna pass President Devon. Where is you at? Because you better not make me have to do this.
He coming back. But
while
he comes back, I just want
you
y'all
don't
to
like
know.
tooting. You know what it is. He don't like tooting his own horn, and that
know.
drives me crazy.
I know.
Because I will toot for you.
We got his back, sis. Don't you worry. We got his back. 110%.
He's running. He don't want to talk about himself. That'd be making me mad.
But
anyway,
I want y'all to know, you know, there is significance. And I want you to think about this in the new year when you come back to join us. While we go live with the scenery of the Brooklyn Bridge behind us. This bridge, it means more than you think, more than you know. We stand on that. This is our legacy. You know? So when people say, you know, we don't know who we are, we have no legacy, this flag should remind you of the blood and the sweat and the tears and the abuse and the freedom and the culture and the business that our people came through. Right? So when you come on the Brooklyn Bridge, you bring the elders, you bring regular folks, curious folks. Everything happens on the Brooklyn Bridge. We stand on this because it means something. It means something. We don't just do shit to be doing it over here on Thorough Black Talk. All right? So we're going to get ready to close it out. Go ahead, Brother Divine. She said you was
hot. With the updates. You got updates.
You was hot.
So just for full clarity, because I know last week you had to run up out of here. Is this the update / final thoughts?
No, go ahead. No, you got it. You got it.
Okay. All right. So I didn't want to push it all together if I ain't have to. So yeah, just the updates then, because I took some notes like Sister Brooke usually do. So I would definitely want to get those off.
Good.
But yes, for the updates. And so what Sister Brooke was talking about as far as the monkey wrench, what we find is that at the city level, you know, based on, and again, not totally based on us. I don't want to act like, you know, our expert testimony from the U.S. Freedom Project was the only thing that swayed them. But what we did was when we got to the city hall, we told them, hey, stop conflating reparations and racial justice. They're both very worthy causes, but when you put them together, you're going to trigger the equal protection clause of the 14th Amendment. So at the city level, what you find is that they have two commissions, one for reparations remedies, which we still have to stay on them to get correct, but they separated out racial justice. And so when they launched their report, and Commissioner Lori Daniel Favors Esquire was also in the House. And she played a integral role in getting that racial justice commission set up separate from reparations. So I said, okay, you know what? Let's take a page out of that book, since you are a commissioner on the New York State Reparations Task Force, and said, hey, listen, we can do the same thing here, because they constantly and consistently talk about what they're able to do and what they're not able to do based on the letter of the law and based on that bill. You know what is an 100% total purview and allowed based on how that legislation and the law is written? Them creating any type of subcommittee that they want, because they have full power over the commission and task force, and can make any decision that they want on that task force and how they study the matters at hand that are laid out in that bill. So I went there and said, hey, listen, y'all don't want to take any of the constitutional language from the 85603, which is a totally constitutional bill, then at least let's separate them out. If you need to study, if the bill is asking for you to study for people of all African descent, let's set up a subcommittee specifically for racial justice that covers all the people of African descent that you want to cover. You can study that all day long and come up with whatever suggestions you like for people of African descent in New York. And then let's have another subcommittee that specifically handles reparations for those that it is owed to, those that have been subject to the badges, incidents, and vestiges of slavery. And I'm so glad you guys brought that up and talked about the Gilded Age, and Sister Brooke threw the extra dig in there to show which people groups were not here. Because this is what is the fatal flaw in what I call the Pan-African approach for reparations. They have taken, on one hand, the story, our glory, and given it to other people. And here's what I mean. When you look at what's going on in the Gilded Age, those individuals are showing you in real time with context, like the sister said, what it looks like to suffer and endure through the badges and incidents of slavery. Because the other groups that would then be subject to racial discrimination are not there yet. And so what happens is, and what's really going on, we talk about racial discrimination, all the other Afro groups, no pun intended, are catching strays from the foundational Black Americans living and enduring through the badges and incidents of slavery. You get caught up because you look like us. You get caught up when you're mistaken for us. And how do we know that? Because when there are instances when you are able to differentiate yourself from us, without a doubt, your outcomes are different. We can look at every measurable metric there is, whether you want to talk about education, home ownership, median household income. If we were all the same and everything was equal, all of our numbers would look the same. But your numbers look different. Why? Because you're different. And white supremacy treats you differently. And your response to white supremacy is different than our response. And so what we're seeing is that on this commission, they're conflating the badges and instances of slavery with racial discrimination, redlining with not being able to catch a cab. Those things are similar, but not the same. And so that is the distinction that we are fighting for, and that is what we're pushing. This entire body politic, this entire foundational Black American Renaissance is built on driving that point home, that we might be similar, but we are not the same. And that's okay, because you can get what you're owed, and we can get what we're owed, but you can't get what I'm owed. And that should be okay, because we don't want what you're owed. And I'll land there.
You know, this image behind us, these are the founders the founding elite Black families of Fort Greene, Brooklyn. Okay? Fort Greene, Brooklyn. From Myrtle Ave to Fulton Street.
Wow.
It's here, right here. I don't play around with these archives. I don't play around with this research business. Sister Brooke, too. When you get a chance, offline, let me know if you're available the 28th of December. Go ahead.
Yes, for whatever. Whatever you want, I'll be there, whatever. But President Divine is not done yet. He has one more update for the family. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So in addition to all of that, again, just living proof as we do this advocacy work, family, like it is happening and going down in real time. And so again, because of viewers like you, we are proud to announce that we have just secured our first additional co-sponsor for the disaggregation bill at the Senate level. Is huge. We already had co-sponsors at the Assembly level, and that is working directly with Assembly Member Lucas. But on the Senate side, where Senator James Sanders was the author, there was some dragging of feet. We didn't have the same type of relationship that we do have with Member Lucas, but we are proud to announce, like I said, because of your advocacy, because of your tireless email sending, like Sister Brooke said, with the way in which you guys are going into this email writing campaign and making rough places smooth and crooked places straight. And we got a chance to sit down with Senator Fahey. The conversation was smooth. The conversation was, why are we not doing this already? The conversation was, this just makes sense. The conversation was, well, if the people want it, we want it. And y'all are the people letting them know that you want it. And just so we don't ever get it twisted, remember, they work for you. You don't work for them. And so the more we stand on this as a family, as a community, these conversations will get so much simpler and so much easier. But the biggest thing is that they will know that we not playing no more. And so
and we not just online.
Oh yeah, right. You will take heed to what we're saying and what we want, because there will be political consequences when and if you don't. Because another thing that they said, and I'll let this out for the family, because this is something we talk about all the time. And again, like I said, Brother Tad said this, we are writing and living history as we speak. One of the questions in the meeting was, well, why aren't fill in the blank for legacy organizations? Why aren't they calling for this?
You know why.
Right. And
hold on. Pan-African organizations?
Organizations, any and all.
Oh.
And I just allowed them to come up with their own thoughts and answers and nodded when they got the right ones. And so this is something that's happening in real time. They are starting to see. It's going back to the matrix. Like, they're starting to see that we believe, they know that we know now. And once they know that we know, the game has to change. Not because it's us, not because of U.S. Streaming Project, not even because of the Brooklyn Bridge, but because all of us together are on code in ways that we haven't been on code either in years or ever. And the reason why I say ever is because though, like Sister Keisha has pointed out, most of our icons, our forefathers and foremothers, were talking about lineage when they were advocating. Other people were allowed to come in and co-opt it in ways that we're not having now. And we're not having anymore. And we're not having ever again. And so, like Sister Keisha likes to say, it's up and it's stuck. And it's FBA all day. And so you either going to get down or you going to lay down, because there's no other anymore.
Told you, family. I told you, progress is being made.
Yeah.
Naysayers. That's what they want you to believe. We're getting the tribe in order. They can't take it. They can't take it. That's right, Brother Rich. Those emails work. So you do your part. The U.S. Freedmen Project will do their part. And those of us who are activists and getting that testimony on a record, we will do our part. You know, it makes me think back to Mobb Deep. You know, for all of you tethers all over social media talking reckless, ain't no such things as halfway crooks. Scared to death, scared to look, shook. We gonna get ready to get the people up out of here.
You touched my soul with that. You touched my soul with that. Oh.
Look, me and my sister always on code, because that was my workout album the day before yesterday. I was bumping Mobb Deep, yesterday's music. I mean, the day before yesterday. So look, we in alignment, sis. Because I said, you know what? I haven't listened to Mobb Deep in a minute. Let me throw on this infamous album and get my 1-2s on.
Now, Brother Divine, Uncle Jesse said, well done, nephew. Now I'm going to get an earful of them all. I'm going to get a whole earful of them all.
Yes. Listen, like Brother, in honor of Mobb Deep, we do it for the little duns.
You know what I'm saying?
Dun language.
What's up? So let's get the people up out of here. Sister Brooke, your final thoughts and commentary. Oh, before you do that, BX, if you still on, let me know if you're available on the 28th. Go ahead, Sister Brooke.
Okay, so you know I got my notes. I'm gonna run it down. When we talked about Black Americans being bust, right? Chris Rock was bust. And we see him he's still young. You know what I mean? He's not the youngest, but you know, he's still young, okay? Ayanna Van Zandt also got bust. Okay. I wanted to mention that my great-grandmother was classified as mulatto, and then her descendants as Negroes. Okay. I also wanted to, when we talked about Africans being involved, or Africans being we don't know what kind of Africans they're sending over here, right? We talked about that. And I just wanted to mention the fact that there's an interview with GZA from the Wu-Tang where he talks about the African child soldiers that were being put into the Staten Island neighborhoods. And that was part of the reasons why they were having such gun problems and gun battles on, you know, in those projects in that area. And Park, thank you, and Park Hill and all of those things. And that was a very, I'm just a big Wu-Tang fan. And I was just listening to GZA because I like listening to GZA, but he dropped that jewel, and that's something I never forgot. And I found there are articles written about that our President Divine actually found when the first time I actually told him about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, I've said everything else. I'm gonna end it with Brother Melrose quote. When you change our name, you change the game.
Shout out to Melrose. Shout out to Melrose.
And on that, I'm out.
Woo-wee! Sister BX, I'll shoot you a message. Probably like about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll shoot you a message. Brother Divine, U.S. Freedmen Project President, your final thoughts and commentary.
Oh man, let me take a page out of the lovely Sister Brooks' book, I took some notes. I had to write some stuff down, some things. So real quick, just to kind of talk about what you guys have said, we're talking about earlier. And this is kind of why we got to move away from that whole language of enslaved Africans, right? They're the descendants of enslaved Africans. Like that is one of the trick bags that the Pan-Africans love to use in our legislation because it ties them to their ideology, not to actual history or to the historical record, but to their ideologies. Then shoehorn other people in. And so I just somebody today, and it's crazy just how these things work today. Somebody retweeted something I put up in 2023. And it was an article from a research center, and it was talking about the difference between how enslavement kind of worked and operated here versus the diaspora, specifically in the Caribbean. And it highlighted and talked about how by 1850, the overwhelming majority of our enslaved ancestors in the U.S. were already multi-generational foundational Black Americans. Where in juxtaposition in 1850, you still had Africans being trafficked directly from the continent to these other countries in the Caribbean and to Latin America. And so that is key when we talk about a continuous culture that was being built based on the ethnogenesis that happened to us being birthed in the country that we built versus those being shipped directly from their African countries and possibly still having ties to those cultures and bringing that with them and things of that nature. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. I also wanted to point out that what we're seeing with the diaspora, with Africa and its diaspora, as I say, is that for too long, it is operated like an abusive relationship. And so what we find is that, again, and I use this only because it is public, it's not to ridicule our sister, because I know it was a soft spot for her, and may she rest in power. But there is a reason why Ike tried to take Tina's name when she was leaving, because of all the prestige and power she had built up on it. And when you study abusers, one of the things that is their superpower that they like to flex is that they continually go to who you used to be to them. And so what happens is that they never allow you to become the new you. And what we're seeing in this current foundational Black American Renaissance and this movement is that the diaspora and its Pan-African handlers are going to continue to try to refuse to allow us to be the new us, to allow us to reintroduce ourselves. Because without us doing that, then they can continue the abusive relationship with no hiccups, with no issues in the machine, because it's not a bug, it's a feature. And so because we have now come into this space where we are redefined and renewed, like the great Automatic said, the relationship is falling by the wayside. And so now we are at the point where that abuser usually says, if I can't have you, then nobody can. See, but and I don't know what movie or what scene it's from, but Sister Brooke always talks about it. We talk about that great actor, I don't even know his name, but it's a scene from the movie or this show, and he says, you know you done fucked up, right? It's in an interrogation room.
Minister Society, Bill
Duke. That's what it is. I knew it was something else. Thank you, Brother Ted.
Movies of all time.
Yes.
Fucked up, right?
And so this is where the diaspora and the Pan-Africans fucked up, right? You picked a fight with arguably the best fighters that ever lived, that was giving you grace because we wanted peace. Don't mess around and get fucked up because you want to keep an abusive relationship that we both can walk away from amicably. And bygones could be bygones, because we're not asking or advocating for any harm to be done to you. We're asking you to mind your business so we can mind our black ass business. If we do that, we good. If you don't, you know you done fucked up, right? And we don't want to go there. So we're really trying to do this thing amicably. So please follow suit, is what we're telling you right now, before it gets to the point where you done fucked up. And I also want to say this part too about the Pan-Africans, because they love invoking our icons of the past, talk about how they were Pan-Africans. And I will always say that I used to be a Pan-African until I started meeting actual Africans. And I don't want to speak for everybody on the panel, even though I know that this applies. I'll just speak for myself. I want the world to know I make this proclamation. Please stop bringing up and pointing out how, because what you're doing when you're claiming that they were Pan-African, you are pointing out the limited information that they had at that time. At this point in my life, I have met and interacted with more Africans than Dr. King and Malcolm X combined. I want to say that again. I have met and interacted with more Africans personally and through social media than Dr. King and Malcolm X combined. And so my lived experience surpasses theirs when we talk about the interaction with actual Africans. So please stop bringing up that talking point like they knew what I know. Now, they knew stuff that I will never know. That's how brilliant they were. But this, I know. They didn't experience the level of hatred, disdain, and xenophobia, and the truth about what really took place that we know today. So stop pretending that if they knew what we knew today, they will hold the same positions that they did then. Let's stop the bullshit once and for all. And I'm going to land on here, and there's going to be a gentle pushback on my brother Tad. Because, you know, he got them Pan-African roots that still come out every once in a while. Because I love him. He still be hotep in the high step.
That's right.
He said Marcus Garvey didn't say it in those exact words when we talk about the flag and who he wrote it for. But I beg to differ, because Marcus Garvey did say it in those exact words. And a shameless plug, the Juneteenth New York, Juneteenth New York organization, they have like a virtual summit they do on Juneteenth every year. Last year, they invited me on and I did a presentation on the difference between the flags, because we were talking about the Juneteenth flag and the Pan-African flag. Let me read you Marcus Garvey's words in closing. He says in 1921, "Show me the race or the nation without a flag, and I will show you a race of people without any pride." In song and mimicry, they have said every race has a flag but the coon. How true. But that was said 4 years ago. They can't say it now. So Marcus Garvey knew that he made a flag for the coons. Here's what he probably didn't know. That 100 years prior, Grace Swisher sewed our flag with her hands. And this is the problem with allowing a foreigner, a non-foundational Black American, to speak or be our representative. He don't know. And so they can only go on what they think they know. And according to Garvey, he believed that we were coons without a flag. And so he made one proudly for the coons. And so here is what I will say. If you are a coon, you have a flag. And you can continue to fly that coon flag. But as for me and my house, we flying the flags of the foundational Black Americans. And I land there.
Woo! Devon, why you starting shit in here? Look, I was ready to get back at you, but yeah.
And let's be clear, Grace Wisher wasn't enslaved. Let me say that again. 13 years old. She was an apprentice to her mother, who was a dressmaker and a fashion designer. 13 years old. That's where the stars and stripes come from. When people say you waving a white man flag, fuck out of here. Sister Marcia, your final thoughts and commentary.
Well, I learned something new today. And this is what I'll say all the time, that if you are not educating first generation, just entering people, they will never know what you're talking about, because patriarchy and those Western institutions that they land in every day for 12 years, 18 years, however long they study, will be their foundation in understanding where they are. So my advocacy in this show and in anywhere that I platform is that we must educate the people. Now, who knew of a Grace Fisher Wisher? I never knew. I was just like, Googling, who's that? Because I've never heard the name. So salute President Devon for giving me new information. And I will tirelessly say that without educating our people, wherever they may be from, whether they consider themselves Pan-Africanists, and I can only consider myself Pan-Africanist because my parents come from another country and their parents' parents came from another country, whether they adopted or not. They are not from IUC. They may have some trickles, suckles going on, but that's not with this color, not with this shade. The people that I see that are originated from IUC are not this shade. I may have some of them in my lineage. I may have some of them in my family present day, but it's not who I identify with and who I understand. And I definitely know that the continent is corrupt. Too many leaders who had great thoughts to propel us forward were taken out. So that's all I can say. But what I will also say is that, I lived on Dumont in East New York. And Martin Luther King Park Jr. was right across the street from my house. And they would always make us do research on famous people and stuff like that. And I would have the park across the street from the house. And I would always be like, well, why is this park across the street from my house and I live on Dumont? Who's Dumont? So from a little age, I always wanted to know more. And I know that there's a lot of people out here, whether they are foundational or they're from the diaspora or wherever, Mars, like my brother Black, who's not on the mic, Nanu. But from wherever they're from, they don't do that exploration. And it's sad. And I do. And I want for 2026 that more people explore the address that they live on, because that's your starting point. If you don't know the people in your family, know your address. If it has a name or a number. There's a major name on whatever throughway you're from. Figure that out. Understand that, and you'll understand a little bit of who you are or who you will become. So I want to bestow on 2026 that everyone on this panel, everyone hearing my voice, that you will become the researcher that you need to become so that you can understand and support family where family needs to be supported. And if you don't align, that's good, but don't give pushback, because family don't need pushback. Family needs community. Family needs support. And if you don't want to support them, just be quiet. Stay in your corner and be at peace. Because I'm at peace where I am, and I know what I know, and I love when someone else gives me new information to research. That's why I always love Sister Keisha, because Sister Keisha always be dropping jewels on me, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta go. Oh, let's look at it this way. And so we communicate that way in looking at stories from our own perspectives. And that's all you can do in this world, is look at stories from your own perspective. So with that said, 2026 is going to be a bomb. 2025 was what it was. Let's knock it out with a big bing, dong, whatever bell you're going to ring, but allow 2026 to manifest in growth and geniuses wherever you lay. Thank you, Brother Devon, for the lesson for today. Sister Keisha, Brother Tad, Sister Brooke, I will bestow upon you a great 2026. And I love y'all, people. Salute to the chat and everybody else.
Thank you for that, sis. And before you move to Brother Tad, real quick, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do this. And I don't like to get in trouble. I want to make 2026 popping, because 2025 was not a good year for me. If you know, you know. But anyway, my grandson, if you can, the link is highlighted in chat. He's starting his cartoon series. You're going to have crazy merch to sell during the summertime. So there's a lot of things going on. Let me just play one and we'll come right back.
Whoa, this thing feels faster than a rocket. Yo, Pharaoh, nice wheels. Let's roll.
Remember, baby, fast is fun, but smart keeps you riding.
Got it, Nana. City dash time. Let's go.
Hang on.
Pharaoh, you gonna eat before you turn into a speed rocket?
I already ate, Nana. 2 waffles and destiny.
Just remember, fast is fun, but smart gets you home.
Always, Nana.
Pharaoh, you're late. Late? Nah, I was building suspense. We heard there's a pop-up robot science show at the pier. Robots? Say less.
Oh, man. The sign says closed for weather.
Weather? The only storm here is Pharaoh's tires.
I lost my robot.
Hey, little dude. What happened?
It fell apart, and the rest rolled up.
Oh, man.
What's...
Hold on.
Pharaoh, what?
I want you to check it out.
Pharaoh don't fold, Pharaoh don't crack. Talk all you want, I'm still on track. You throwing them jokes, I throwing up facts. I'm 10 steps forward while you falling back. You bark real loud, but you move real small. I rise real fast while you barely crawl. Say, look, I step in the gym and the floor start thumping. Beats in my head like the crowd all jumping. I'm only able to drip, look grown. Pocket full of dreams and I stand on my own. You throwing shade way up in those seats. I'm running plays laced up with heat.
So, if you can, check it out. The link is in the chat. Little businessman, that's all he talks about is business. That's it. You want to behave, talk about business. That's all he want to talk about. So I'm promoting his channel, Pharaoh's World BK. Thank you, Sister Farnessa. I'll definitely appreciate a like and a share. Thank you. So, Brother Tad, your final thoughts and commentary.
Oh man, that just blew me back a little bit. Oh man, shout out to young Pharaoh, the real young Pharaoh, not the pseudo crazy dude who be on drugs with his eye painted. Not that dude. No, not that dude. But yeah, family, it's been another dope joint. I love this panel. I love when Brother Divine and Sister Brooke is on with us, rocking out. They make a dope addition. The future, the things they doing. Sister Marcia, you got to burn that red, black, and green flag. It is now no longer the Pan-African flag. It is now the coon flag. We have made it official.
I'll be a coon then.
And look,
Red, black,
I
and
didn't
green.
make it official. Garvey made it official. It's the coon flag. Word. But family, we definitely appreciate everybody who rocked out with us, everybody in the chat, the usual suspects. Catch me every Sunday at 2 p.m. with my co-host C Gutter doing the OG Wisdom podcast. Me and Doggy working on some things too. So just keep your eyes out for those things coming in the future. So hopefully you were inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Brother Blacksmith wish y'all a happy Shazbot. He couldn't get it. Technical difficulties worked out behind the scenes. But be ready in 2026. Because like I said, we coming back with a bang. We shutting down everybody. You want to know who did the work for you? We're going to lay it down right here. We come with real facts, real receipts on this historic Brooklyn Bridge. We are BK. We are BK Thorough. And we don't play no games. Thank you for everybody who just subscribed to his channel. I'll tell them that. Get ready. Have your little people in the family get ready for the full cartoon series. There's one with him being a bike rider throughout the streets of New York. The other one is riding a Vespa scooter throughout the streets of New York. So you will enjoy. Because every time he come over here, he wants to get to work. Nana, let's get to work. That's it. He be running me like he the damn master up in his house. But anyway, y'all have a great holiday with your family. If you don't celebrate the holiday, spend some time with your family. Family is very important. Family will always give you those receipts you need about your legacy and your lineage. You know, you may not like Uncle so-and-so. He may get on your nerves, but he got some stories to tell. Rest in peace to my cousin, OG Hop, who passed away about a month and a half ago. But he was always a full supporter of Thorough Black Talk Worldview. And before he left this world, I got him on the record, on video, giving us the family history so that I can pass it on to the next generation. You can't stop our fight. You can't stop our flow. If you think that, you are retarded. Catch you in 2026. All the best to you and yours. We are out. Good night, y'all.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power Media on the spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves,